Hello. Hello, everyone.
Hello.
Hello, everyone out there in UFC weigh-in land. This is Alexander Katie here, coming in live. So fire off this tweet here for our social media followers. Yes, we are not all live. We have Jose Youngs on site, everybody. He is live at the UFC Apex in Las Vegas for the UFC 260 official weigh-ins, which are going down right now. As I said before, I am Alex K. Lee, joined, of course, by Michael Heck, my best friend, and
hello,
Katie Leiden, also my friend, right near in the best area, not quite number one, but it's almost like 1A, 1B, but Mike's definitely 1A, I'm just saying, because it's the clear delineation. But it doesn't matter. You guys aren't here to watch the personal drama and dynamics of the MMA fighting. We're here to see weigh-ins. And we have a relatively truncated lineup today, if that's a nice way of putting it. 10 fights, 20 fighters, which is a lot less than we've had recently. We've had cards recently scheduled with like 14, 13, fights. But now this one is down to 10. Hopefully it stays that way. There has been a lot of, consternation during the week. Have certain fighters, had to deal with COVID protocol. Could they be removed from the card? But right now we are at 10 fights. You'll see the graphic on screen right there. That is the lineup we are expecting. So, gentlemen, since we're beginning early, let's ask now, who do you think will show up first? Michael Heck.
Let me see. I'll say Sean O'Malley.
Ooh, big statement. Big statement for Sugar Sean. Could be. It's first fight in a while. Wants to make a statement. Wants to be make sure he gets a lot of attention on his first weigh-in today. Jose, you're on site. Do you have any indication of who might be first?
I don't see anyone, but I'm going to hazard a guess. It'll be Tyron, the old pro.
Another guy who has a lot to prove. Casey, what do you think? Who do you think's coming out first?
I was also going to go with Tyron.
Really? Guys, I'm thinking one of the heavyweights. I know heavyweights normally take their time. They have no reason to show up early. I get it. I have a feeling one of the heavyweights will come out to make that statement.
Why would Francis or Stipe show up at 9 o'clock and sit around for 2 hours? They can show up.
Then they can go back to sleep.
That isn't where are they going to sleep at? They're good.
Sure, if they're like me, they can sleep anywhere. But yes, everyone watching on screen right now, of course, again, as I said, that is Jose who's bringing us the weigh-ins, which will start shortly. Plenty of intrigue ahead of tonight's card. Tomorrow night's card. Excuse me, Fridays, right, everybody? Mike? Not necessarily what fight. What storyline are you kind of have your eye on the most?
I mean, it's pretty obvious that Tyron Woodley is a big storyline because this is let's be honest, this is do or die against Vicente Luque. And looking at the odds, he's a pretty sizable underdog. It's like 2.5 to 1 dog right now against Vicente Luque. So this is a very important fight for him. It's a must win. But if we're gonna go for deep cuts, I gotta say, seeing Fabio Cherant make his UFC debut is a pretty cool thing, being a New Englander. And a quick story about that. After UFC Boston in October of 2019, I saw Fabio Cherant outside of the TD Garden that night waiting for a cab. I believe I was in a split a cab with our good friend Jose Youngs.
I was there.
And,
that was the guy. That was him.
Fabio Cherant. That was him.
He was having a good night, if I remember correctly.
Yeah, it's because he was very angry. He was a little upset that he wasn't fighting on that card representing New England like a lot of the New England fighters were. So he was a little upset, and that was kind of a night for him where he was like, now I'm hungry. I'm going to be fighting at the Garden. I'm going to be fighting in the UFC at some point. So here he is, short notice, taking on Alonzo Menifield. So pretty cool story to see him get his stuff together and get his UFC shot.
I was going to say, clearly eager. I believe he's setting this bout on 2 days' notice. Maybe his team got a little bit earlier, but it certainly less than a week's notice for William Knight.
For who's going to come out first? I'm changing my bet to Gillian Robertson.
Oh,
I was going to say her too.
Where's the feeling coming from? Where's this feeling coming from?
Feeling, and my eyes agree.
Amazing. This is why he's the Between the Links champion, guys. He just makes these calls. He goes with his gut. Amazing stuff. I don't know how he does it. I am not the between the lanes champion.
The weigh-ins have officially started. We are 20 seconds in.
All right, here we go.
Weigh-ins for UFC 260, Miocic versus Ngannou 2, and we will begin in the UFC Women's Flyweight Division. Main card offering here, 15th in the world, Gillian Robertson.
Wow, what a call by Jose. Gillian Robertson out first. I'm looking to make the 125 limit. First woman to make 10 flyweight appearances in the UFC.
Often called the Cowboy Cerrone of the women's flyweight division.
Sure.
Second time trying to make weight in 5 weeks.
She is active.
125.5, the official weight for Gillian Robertson.
125.5 for Gillian Robertson. And yes, officially now she is on track to make her 10th UFC flyweight appearance. So good for her for having that record. And it hasn't been a bad, she's not just staying busy. I mean, she wins a lot of fights. She's got records. I think, I know flyweight's a relatively young division compared to some other divisions of the UFC. We've got Jamie Mullarkey coming up next. But yeah, Gillian Robertson holds a lot of the finishing, stoppage records, sub record. So obviously, somewhere down the road, maybe someone will surpass her, but she hasn't for now. Here's Jamie Mullarkey competing on the main card.
£155.5, the official weight for Jamie Mullarkey.
155.5 for Jamie Mullarkey. We are 2 for 2 so far at the UFC 260 official weigh-ins, which you're watching now on MMA Fighting's YouTube channel. Mullarkey and Khama Worthy, I believe, bumped the fight that was bumped up after we unfortunately lost the featherweight championship co-main event, which of course I'm sure we'll talk a bit more about later.
Appearance here tomorrow night, the light heavyweight division, Modestas Bukauskas.
Modestas Bukauskas up next. Going to hit 205.
Is that some cowbell?
Former Cage Warriors light heavyweight champion.
205.5, the official weight for Modestas Bukauskas.
205.5 for Modestas Bukauskas. So all the fighters so far, half a pound, using that kind of half a pound extra. Could be the way it actually is, or could be that there's our scale a little bit off. Either way, they're on weight, doesn't matter. Half a pound over pound, I would say over half a pound above 205. Full pound doesn't really matter. So there we go, 3 for 3 so far. Everyone's looking good. I was very, very wrong in my prediction about one of the heavyweights coming in first. Probably both be last.
UFC Women's Flyweight Division, Miranda Maverick.
Casey, Miranda Maverick already here. Gillian Robertson has already successfully weighed in.
Look at these ladies showing up early, getting it done. Just professionalism right here.
Our viewers could get a little treat if this is a successful weigh-in. Let's see.
126, the official weight for Miranda Maverick.
126 for Miranda Maverick, and with Gillian Robertson successfully weighing in at 125.5. Guys, I think that makes our first fight of UFC 260 official.
God, that feels good. That feels good.
It does feel good. It does feel good. I was kind of listening at first. It feels good.
As we welcome Michal Oleksiejczuk.
I feel like
we might get another one.
What? Oh, and now we have Modestas Bukauskas' opponent, Michal Oleksiejczuk, has shown up. And if again, oh wow, such an early treat. I'm expecting pretty brisk, quick weigh-ins today, guys.
Oh,
no, every time we say that.
Yeah. Oh, geez.
Why, dude?
Why? AJ?
I know.
You might as well just say, Stipe versus Francis. That ain't going to the judges. No way. Jeez.
I have that tweet saved out to fire from our account.
The official weight 206 pounds for Michal Oleksiejczuk.
206 pounds for Michal Oleksiejczuk. So with the 1 pound allowance, he is on point and official for his fight with Modestas Bukauskas. Excellent. All right. Two fights on schedule. All right. As Jose always reminds us, nothing is official until, of course, the fighters step into the cage. But at least
That's wrong
far.
because I played once the sound cue happens, it's official. So
it's official for now until it is not official. Yes, you're right. You're correct. We now have, I believe they said, Abubakar Nurmagomedov coming up.
And there's
He'll be
Habib.
fighting Jared Gooden on the prelims. There is Habib. Habib has said, "You guys will not miss me. I'm going to be around a lot." Sure enough, he was present last week. Obviously, helped Kevin Holland a little bit with some coaching, impromptu coaching from cage side. Here he is coaching another one of his team, of course.
Habib had Holland win the final round of the fight,
which he did. Yes, he did. First fighter ever to take down Derek Brunson in the UFC, thanks to Habib.
170 and 1/2 pounds, the official weight for Abubakar Nurmagomedov.
170 and a half for Abubakar Nurmagomedov.
I like that name, Abubakar. I like that.
It's a great name. A great name.
I'm not.
You know what else is a great name? Nurmagomedov is a great name, and there's quite a few in the UFC right now, and in Bellator, and in Eagle Fighting Championship. And if you're facing a Nurmagomedov, I'm just saying you might be in trouble.
I feel like the name Nurmagomedov is like creeping up on Silva as far as popular names in MMA.
Sure. Yeah. I mean, again, I imagine it's fairly common name from that area, and also I guess in this culture. Azaitar is coming up next, making the middleweight. His first fight in quite a long time. We have not seen Azaitar fight since July 22nd, 2018. Not to be confused, everyone, with his brother, Otman Azaitar. I'm sure a lot of people recognizing the name. No, he is not the Otman who was briefly seemingly fired from the UFC for Potato Gate or Bag Gate or whatever you want to call it in Abu Dhabi.
I think it was actually a potato bag.
Right, potato sack. Yeah.
185 and a half, the official weight for Azaitar.
185.5 for Abu Azaitar. So he is on point for his first fight in almost 3 years.
Have we gone with an official name? Is it Potato Gate? Is it Potato Sack Gate? Is it?
I am trying to I don't like just adding gate to the end of every scandal. I think it's the laziest. Am I wrong, Mike? What do you think of it? What do you think of they did Deflate Gate? We'll touch about this after.
Bunch of BS.
I mean, the controversies was definitely BS. I just didn't like the name either. I'm like, but that one at least rhymed. So we now have Alonzo Menifield. Alonzo Menifield coming up. He will be weighing in at light heavyweight. He is facing replacement Fabio. How do I pronounce that last name, Mike?
Charant.
Fabio Charant.
That gentleman looks good coming off the bus. Holy shit.
205 pounds, the official weight for Alonzo Menifield.
Sorry, what was that? 205 even?
205 even for Alonzo Menifield. And yes, if William Knight had also weighed in, we would have been making comments about the fitness of these two light heavyweights. But and not to say that Fabio Charant is, I'm sure he's going to show up while it's in the scale as well. So these are fine athletes in the UFC. All right.
What happened to William Knight? What was the story on William Knight?
It's undisclosed. Mike, do you have any inside info on that?
It was COVID procedure protocol kind of thing. So William Knight's now fighting April 10th against Daun Young.
That's right. He has already been rebooked, so that's good. That's right. We will see. That's a good matchup, William Knight and Daun. I like that. That's a good matchup. Okay, I don't know if we have a pause. Oh, here we go.
Division, please welcome Shane Young.
Featherweight Shane Young, who report had sort of come out earlier that his fight with Omar Morales might be in jeopardy, but Shane all week was maintaining that he was fighting. For anyone who wonders why, there was some possible COVID protocol thing, but he's here. The fight is still on the schedule. It looks like we might get it. We'll have to wait for Omar Morales later, of course.
145 and a half, the official weight for Shane Young.
145.5, Shane Young.
You got it. No worries, you're good.
I'm going to pick up on this gate thing after. I'm not giving this is a point of conversation, but let's make sure we don't have. So far, our top 6 fights on the card, no representatives from those fights yet. The heavyweights, of course, Stipe and Francis, still waiting for them. Tyron Woodley, Vicente, Luque, still waiting. And Thomas Almeida, Sean O'Malley. But otherwise, we're filling out the card a bit. Jose's panning over to see if we have anyone on standby. It doesn't look like it for now. So, Mike, what do you think about adding the suffix gate to every controversy?
All right, next fighter to the scale. You can see him compete live
Darn
on
it.
pay-per-view tomorrow night. The UFC's bantamweight division, Sugar Sean O'Malley.
Oh, here's a big one. Sean
O'Malley.
That's right. Yeah, Mike had the closest to the pin. Sean O'Malley.
Even. 136 pounds, the official weight for Sean O'Malley.
I think this fight, actually, Almeida versus O'Malley, has like one of the most low-key storylines coming into this card. With Thomas Almeida he was kind of the Sean O'Malley before Sean O'Malley, just this super hyped up, exciting 135er that, ran into some tougher opponents, and then all of a sudden he kind of disappeared and came back. And we're going to see if Almeida is kind of, that same guy, or if we can ever return to that kind of prospect kind of hype that he had.
Yeah, and he took his last fight at 145, I guess, just to kind of get back and just take a fight, kind of maybe doing like the Brian Kelleher bantamweight featherweight thing, and he faced very talented Jonathan Martinez, so no shame in the loss there. But I do think 135 is where he belongs. Mike, do you like Tom? I'm gonna mess up his nickname. I was gonna say, do you like Thomas Almeida's chances of becoming a contender at 135 again?
I don't know. I'm gonna play the Jose Young's card on this one and kind of wait to see what happens. I mean, if he beats Sean O'Malley, then absolutely, he's right up there. But I mean, we'll see. I mean, he's got obviously potential. He's been there before, but the big knock on him has been sort of like you alluded to, the strength of schedule. When he got up there against some of the best guys at 35, he didn't do very well. Cody Garbrandt, Rob Font, Jimmy Rivera. When he gets those kinds of fights, he hasn't been able to come through on the other side. So we'll see. I mean, if he can go in there and beat Sean O'Malley and do it convincingly without, any sort of controversy or complaints whatsoever, if Sean O'Malley can say that I am such and such and one, that's a huge win for Thomas Almeida. Puts him right back in there, probably puts him just outside the top 15, if not in the top 15, considering the name. The UFC rankings panel will probably look fondly upon that. So we'll see. It all comes down to tomorrow. If he beats Sean O'Malley, then sure. I think he's got the confidence. He's back on the hunt.
He has not won a fight since. I know we've lost Jose for a second here, guys, but we will get him back. Jose, we lost audio and video with Jose, Casey?
Yeah, he's trying to reconnect.
Okay,
now.
we'll have Jose back shortly. But I'm sure I bring this up because he would, I'm sure, remember this off the top of his head. But I had to look this up. The last time Thomas Almeida won a fight, November 19th, 2016. A card headlined by Ryan Bader and Antonio Rogerio Nogueira. So if you want to know how long ago since Thomas Almeida has seen his hand raised, that kind of paints a little picture for you guys. And yes, I know we all remember what an amazing run he had coming up. Sorry, Casey, go ahead.
Yeah, what's his losing streak? Who did he fight in his losing streak?
3 straight, 4 out of 5. And the losses are to Cody Garbrandt, Jimmy Rivera, and Rob Font. So all top 10 bantamweights. And then Jonathan Martinez in his last outing, which again, probably shouldn't be fighting at featherweight.
Yeah, so that's the thing about Almeida. Maybe he just isn't a top 5 guy. Maybe he's just a really good high action bantamweight. So we're gonna find that out. And I mean, I think we know he's always gonna be high action, but really is he gonna be that kind of elite bantamweight? And I don't think that ship has sailed yet. But like Mike said, I don't think anyone's ready jump aboard the Almeida hype train yet until we kind of see what happens this tomorrow. I think for both fighters, actually, for both fighters.
This is a big test.
I think whoever takes a loss, obviously loss sucks, but I feel like a lot of if O'Malley it's just bad for these guys if they either one loses.
Yeah, look, Almeida he turns 30 this year, so he's in really probably in his physical prime, approaching his physical athletic prime. So this could be the beginning, as far as we know, for Thomas Almeida's serious run as a contender. Or as you said, if he loses and loses badly and then loses another one, this could be the end. It's crazy how MMA is, right? It's like you're 1 or 2 fights away from contending. You're 1 or 2 fights away from people saying you're washed up and why are you still in the UFC and making jokes about you going and fighting in Ryzen and I don't know. So yeah, it is a big fight. It's a big fight for both guys.
A joke to fight in Ryzen? That is an honor to fight in Ryzen, young man.
I'm just saying. Sometimes we make wise cracks about.
How big of a favorite? How big of a favorite do you guys think Sean O'Malley is?
Just look it up.
Between everyone?
I thought he'd be maybe only minus 150, minus 180 maybe.
Or like the UFC.
Minus 320.
And that's ridiculous.
That is absurd.
Well, because look how Almeida's lost to. I'm not counting his 45 fight because that's a 45 fight. I don't think Sean O'Malley beats either of the 3 people that Almeida lost to.
Right.
So, and we were talking earlier about we have plenty of time. We have an hour 43 minutes, but talking about how Tyron Woodley, this is a must-win. Lose or go home, win or go home type thing. But do you see Vicente Luque beating any of the opponents that Woodley has lost to?
No, off the top of my head, I wouldn't. I got Usman, RDA, Colby Covington. I would certainly would not favor Luque in any of those matchups.
Yeah, so that's why I'm surprised at the line. Yeah. John, oh God,
I don't know why.
Hey, can you block this John Dinian guy? He said Ryzen is overrated. Did you see the last card?
He's just being a troll.
Oh man,
he's just being a troll. We know he's a #1 troll.
You guys talking about if you would favor Luque over Woodley's last opponents?
Yeah. Well, two things. Two things. If you want to touch on either of these, Jose. What do you think? We were actually talking a lot about Thomas Almeida as well. Hold on, I gotta ban someone in the comments being hilarious, but still I have to,
We got movement.
Okay, we have movement. We got someone coming up. Thank you, Stephen Natalino, for correcting me. It was Gilbert Burns, not RDA, that fought Tyron Woodley. Jose would have corrected me if he caught it, but thank you for correcting me instead. I don't need to be berated right now for my ignorance.
That's my job.
That's Casey's job, Jose's job. Mike's next. Mike would do it.
I try.
Who do we have here, gentlemen?
It's Almeida.
It is Almeida. Oh, I didn't recognize him with a t-shirt on.
You can see the sunglasses though? Come on. I think that's him. Hope it is.
I think you're right. I think you are correct. Didn't hear anything from Anik.
The official weight, 136 pounds for Thomas Almeida.
That is 136 for Thomas Almeida. So O'Malley only 136 earlier, and our second main card fight is now official. Amazing. I'm glad. That's one I think like we said. That's a return to bantamweight for Thomas Almeida after a one fight, a little hop up to stay busy.
Look at that dance.
About
He's good. He's in a good place.
He's got that rhythm. So we're still waiting for our main event and co-main event participants. Plenty of time, well over 90 minutes left to go. But yeah, surprisingly, not normally the sort of rush of weigh-ins that you would expect early on. But it is only 10 fights, so we're waiting on 8 people. So I guess, am I counting here correctly, guys?
9, I think.
9. Okay, yes, Mike, you're right. 9 people. So we're over half. Over half have weighed in. All successful, everyone. Everyone tuning in, please look at the graphic. If you have any questions about who has weighed in, has anybody missed? No, nobody has missed. 11 for 11 so far. 9 left to go again, including our 4 biggest names on the card, or at least in the 2 biggest fights on the card. Should I try and get this gate discussion thing going again?
No.
Should I try? Is it just gonna get set up?
No.
I knew it.
Marc-Andre Barriault.
Thank you, John.
I just won't bring it up anymore. Canadian Marc-Andre Barriault, if you want to pronounce his name correctly, that is coming up now to weigh in at middleweight.
If you want to pronounce it incorrectly, how would you say it?
Marc-Andre Barriault.
All right. We'll just do a whole weigh-in show where we just mispronounce everyone's name.
Oh, no, please don't. I can't do it. I'm like Anik. I'm a stickler for pronunciation, even though I know I've gotten some wrong, I'm sure.
Weighing 185 pounds, the official weight for Marc-Andre Barriault.
185 for Marc-Andre Barriault. He has way to go. Powerball, getting a shot. He's had kind of a weird career at the UFC so far. I'm sorry, Casey. Azaitar also weighed in successfully earlier, and that main card. Preliminary. Was that the preliminary? Oh, sorry. The only early prelim fight is now official.
AK, you got one job. Come on, man.
I know. Well, I was on point earlier before. Marc-Andre, technically now, again in his 5th UFC appearance, looking for his first UFC win, because his last victory, which snapped an 0-3 run to the UFC, was overturned. He tested positive for Ostarine, so it was originally a second-round TKO victory over Oscar Piachota, and that is technically stricken off the record. So he is 0-3 with a no contest in the UFC, and now he has a tough opponent in Azaitar. So I'm glad they gave Marc-Andre another chance, but this is it has to be winning you're in, I guess.
He's favored.
Could be. He is. What? Give me the odds. Mike.
-125.
Okay. Oh, slightly. Okay, that's good. I'm a little surprised. Maybe it's because Azaitar has not fought in a long time. Because I remember Azaitar before this long layoff he's had was pretty highly touted. So I guess it's who have you seen recently? I suppose. And again, not to take anything away from Marc-Andre's skills. It's just I'm surprised. 80. Have you seen the typology voting?
I have not.
81% Azaitar. 81% Azaitar. Okay, well now that's too far the other way.
I'm betting people are just weighing a little too much in this potato gate situation. Maybe it's like
how? Why should that affect Abu?
I mean, I think like you say, I'm sure they're friends. They're brothers. So they're trading potato secrets.
He was there.
He was there. Yeah.
He was sure. Yeah, he was there. Yep. I don't know why. Maybe. I don't know why anyone would bet on this fight in general. If you're betting on an early prelim fight between Azaitar and Marc-Andre Barriault, maybe step away. Maybe step away from the online site you're using, and just don't do it. How are we? All right, Mike. I think, and don't worry, I won't bring up Gate. I should keep bringing up Gate because every time I do, it causes someone to come up. But no, I was going to say, I think it's safe for us to do a rundown. We're almost in the 90-minute. I think it's safe for us to do a rundown of what we've seen so far.
All right.
Okay. Just waiting for the music.
Rundown music. Here we go.
Oh, look at that. All right, we are still awaiting the main event for the UFC Heavyweight Championship of the World, Stipe Miocic and Francis Ngannou. We're also waiting on the welterweight co-main eventers, Tyron Woodley and Vicente Luque. Thomas Almeida versus Sean O'Malley is official. Both competitors weighed in at 136 pounds. Gillian Robertson, first on the scale, weighed in at 125.5. She takes on Miranda Maverick, who weighed in at 126. Jamie Mullarkey successfully in at 155.5. Still awaiting the arrival of his opponent, Khama Worthy. Alonzo Menifield weighed in at 205 on the nose, still awaiting the newcomer, Fabio Charant. Jared Gooden yet to hit the scale. He takes on Abubakar Nurmagomedov, who weighed in at 170.5. Modestas Bukauskas, 205.5, takes on Michal. Oleksiejczuk, 206 for Mr. Oleksiejczuk. Shane Young weighted at 145.5, still awaiting the arrival of Omar Morales. And Azaitar weighted at 185.5. He takes on Marc-Andre Barriault, 185. There you go. Back to you, AK.
Lovely, Mike. Lovely. Michael Easter, regular viewer, wants to comment and explain why. I assume this comment is explaining maybe why Abu is favored so much by the Tapology voters. He says potatoes help you mash your opponent, or at least starch them. And then in parentheses, I'll show myself out. No need to show yourself out, Michael. You are banned. So I hope that hilarious pun was worth it, because you are now banned.
Wow.
I have no.
I thought you'd be like the top contributor.
No.
Yeah, the live studio audience loved it. You are
that wasn't for
troll.
the banning?
You are the troll, AK.
Well, my ban. He's lucky. My ban button, I keep hitting it. Does not seem to work today. So, yeah. Michael Easter, you will live to pun another day, much to my chagrin.
Casey,
do we have any actual questions? Oh, go ahead, Mike.
Hold on, Casey. You might enjoy this. My buddy Keith Schillen, fellow MMA media member, commented. He said the fireplace over Casey's shoulder is a nice touch, very welcoming.
That's what I'm all about.
So there you go.
Friends.
That New England hospitality right there for you, Casey.
I've never been welcomed into your humble abode.
Yeah, that's not an accident.
Because those are for people who know how to buy the shirt all the way.
Was that Jose? Repeat your mean comment, your hurtful comment. Go ahead. No, go ahead. Let people know how to hurt my feelings. Hurt my feelings.
Wasn't me.
We have, I think this is Bloody Elbows, Tim Bissell, or maybe someone posing as him saying, I'm pushing all my chips in on Azaitar. So that's interesting. Not sure what that.
I know very little about each of these fighters, so.
Means he's betting on it. He's the one you were commenting about. He's going to bet on it.
There's some shadiness in their past, to put it nicely. I don't know all the details of it, so I won't divulge. But there is some shadiness even before Potato Gate. There was some greasiness. Jose, am I using that right? Not even. Yeah.
I'm gonna say yes. I'm gonna say yes, but no.
Okay. I'll take that. That is
tomfoolery or skullduggery.
Oh. I like, yes, sure, fair enough. Yes, there was some tomfoolery and skullduggery in the past of the Azaitars. Scott McCrae, AK.
Hold on.
Go ahead, Jose. Please go ahead.
Go read our colleague Kareem Zidane's piece on Azaitar 2. It's a little jarring, to say the least. I won't get into it here, but it's a jarring story.
Kareem, of course, I would say one of the finest investigative journalists in the MMA field today. Definitely always check out his work. It's not always pretty, guys. It's not always stuff that we want to talk about and that we want to know about, but it is out there, and it's very important. So always, guys, Kareem Zidane, check that stuff out. Someone that commented earlier asking, am I salty about the BT? You know, Mike, if anyone didn't watch, please check out Between the Links that went out yesterday. It was myself versus Jed Meshew. It was an entertaining battle. And I'm not going to say the better man won. Jed won. Make of that what you will. He's an experienced BTL competitor. It's fine. Thank you. Jeremiah K in the comments saying, I won at 29-28. It was a 5-round fight, so I don't know how I won 29-28, but I will take that.
Here's the thing. As the reigning champion, after I beat Jed next week, I think at that point in time, Mike, I'm going to have to start to get some of this Conor McGregor treatment, where I'm going to have to start matchmaking the rest of the division for myself. So I would like to see Oleksiejczuk and Jed Meshew rematch again down the road, and the loser has to change their middle name, because we both can't have 2 Ks in the middle name. You can't have Jed Meshew and Alexander K. Lee. Loser changes their name, and I get to laugh. I, of course, get to pick the middle name.
He doesn't even use the K that much. My K has value. Yeah, it's in his tweet, but he doesn't.
Right,
he barely
well,
he doesn't refer to himself as Jed K.
If the loser between Jed and K down the road has to change their middle name to Dolores Umbridge, that is my verdict.
I'm not signing on for this stipulation. I respect the champion. I respect the champion's power and matchmaking abilities. I have not signed up. This is not like when Booker T and Big T in WCW battled for the letter T. No, that was a crazy stipulation. I'm not signing up for that. That had a very dangerous effect on both men's careers, and I won't indulge
Dolores Umbridge Lee has a good name has a good ring to it.
Okay, well, I mean, now that you say it, yes, obviously it sounds really good, but that still technically I am not signing up for it. You are selling me on it. Well, I am not.
Sounds like someone who knows they're gonna lose and is gonna get that middle name.
I always entertain the possibility of losing. All right, I'm 2-10. I'm 2-10. If I didn't entertain the possibility of losing, I wouldn't be realistic. But I'll say Alexander Dolores Umbridge Lee sounds much better than Jed Dolores Umbridge Michal. So I think we can agree on. We really do have ourselves a break here. Jose Penne over, see if we can get some sort of scoop. But
AK, your 2-10 is like the equivalent of a Major League Baseball pitcher who's 2-10 but has an ERA of like 2.7.
Exactly.
Oh.
Exactly.
You know what I mean?
The wins and losses are such an outdated way of gauging actual success. Come on.
Sorry. Why do we play? What's the purpose of Between the Links? To win?
Jose, you are a hardcore baseball fan. Don't perpetuate the myth of wins and losses in pitching and baseball.
What's the purpose of playing baseball? Yeah.
Stop it.
Playing baseball. Wins and losses.
This is
the game, Jose.
This is not the real Jose's opinion. This is I am being needled. He is defying statistics and his love of baseball to needle me. Shameful.
Why do we hand out $100 million contracts to players? To what? To help the
team. To have low ERAs, high strikeout to walk ratios.
Congratulations, Felix Hernandez has a really low ERA, and he's never made the playoffs. I guarantee.
How much money has he made? How much money has he made? How much money has he made in playing baseball? You just said it.
I guarantee you. No, we're not talking about. I guarantee you, he would give up a lot of that money and a lot of that ERA to make the playoffs once. And how do you make the playoffs, AK Lee? That's right, you win. Give it a shot sometime.
I don't think he has control over that. This is ridiculous. This is absurd. This is an absurd indictment of the fine King Felix's career. I am offended on behalf of Seattle Mariners fans. However many there may be. I am offended.
Casey's got it sorted out.
I mean, it looks good. It looks good. Look, I don't want it. I want it. But does it look good?
Eventually, the Alexander and the Lee will just disappear, and you'll just be known as Dolores Umbridge, and it will be the greatest thing.
Well, here's the thing. I only have the K to distinguish myself from like the 1,000 other, millions of others Alex Lees living in the world. If I was the only Dolores Umbridge in the MMA sphere, or probably the only Dolores in MMA, I'm trying to think fighters, coaches, person that might actually be really good for my career. If we're being real here, that might be really good.
You know who Dolores Umbridge is?
Casey,
do you know who Dolores Umbridge is?
He's the most recent loser Between the Links.
That's a really good answer, Casey. I'm glad you brought that up. Can you,
Jose? Why don't you educate our viewers?
But what did AK not do on the last Between the Links?
He definitely didn't win.
Oh,
I mean, he did a lot of things, but one thing he did not do is win.
Okay, so you're a wise man. You must have been born in the 70s.
The later half, yeah.
Why don't you explain to people what is a Dolores Umbridge, Jose?
You say what is a Dolores Umbridge? Dolores Umbridge is a woman. First of all, she is
clear.
You know what? People in the
Dolores could be a man's. Dolores could be a man's name. Dolores could be a man's name. No, our comments are asking what the hell is Jose. Our comments are asking what the hell is Jose talking about. Why is he? I don't want to read the rest of the comments. They're not very nice about you. So I mean, if you could maybe help the comments out a little bit and explain what the hell you're talking about, that would probably be helpful.
Go watch some of the Harry Potter movies, and the character you hate the most, you'll know.
All right. That is. I think that is enough of an explanation.
Is that the one out of Harry Potter?
Sure is.
Oh, thank God someone else is talking to Jose, so we don't have to. Okay, so we are waiting for. We hit a bit of a break here. I guess what Casey, I don't think we have any actual questions, right? Other than what is a Dolores Umbridge?
The mostly a bunch of insults at us.
Mr. Habib 135 wants to know, did Stipe and Magagu weigh in? Okay, well that's close enough. No, they have not weighed. Stephen Miocic and Francis Ngannou have not weighed in. Jet Mech, regular viewer, what in the wild world of sports is going on here? I don't know. I'm as lost as you are. Alex Savis chiming in with the leave Alex alone, which I want to think she means is defending me, but also possibly just saying don't get me involved in this, which is possible. So we will not. There we go. Yes, we won't drag poor Alex. We won't drag. I shouldn't say poor. Cool Alex Savis.
I submitted a question for last A side, and you guys didn't even answer it.
Yeah, we did the soup question.
No one answered the question. The question was what
we gave the question time.
Yeah,
we gave the question the time it deserved, which is to say not much. So I think you should appreciate that, and we can all just kind of move on from it. Or you can answer it the next time you host the A side, which again will be next week. It's a very it's not an easy gig. It's not. I give you a lot of credit, Jose. It's not an easy gig to host that show.
City of Soup.
Oh, he's gone. But yes. Also, if anyone wants more Alexander Dolores Umbridge Lee programming, I was on BTL this week, and I did guest host the A side live chat with, of course, the cool Alex Savis and Casey. You guys can watch the replay of that because, of course, Jose has been at the UFC Apex hustling. He's at UFC. He's bringing you the footage that we see in front of us right now. So. But yes, he will be back. Jose, I assume you will be. I don't want to speak for you. I assume you'll be back next week for the A side, correct?
As far as I know.
There we go. And I'm sure he'll have another super special guest to help answer all of our viewers' questions. Always excellent questions and queries, none of which we are seeing today, unfortunately. So let's go right to it then. What is our sleeper fight? What is our sleeper fight of the card? Mike, let's go to you first, my man. You usually know everyone more than the rest of us do. What do you think? What are you looking at as could be one of the main card fights, but also, again, we've got some interesting prelims as well. What do you think?
I don't know. I think I got in terms of deep cuts. I think I got my eye on Bukauskas versus Oleksiejczuk. Someone's going to sleep in that fight. So Bukauskas hasn't lost in a long time. He lost his last fight to Jimmy Crute, so he's looking to bounce back. I know he's made some changes physically. He's also, from what I understand, is seeing a sports psychologist now to help with his mental stuff. And Oleksiejczuk is a pretty scary cat too. So that should be a banger. So I'd say low key, that's one I got my eye on.
Casey?
Robertson Maverick for sure.
Ooh.
I'm very high on Miranda Maverick, and I think Robertson's a very good fighter. I don't know if she's a elite flyweight, but she's young too. She's obviously getting better. So I just normally I don't like prospect. It's Gillian. Would you say is she a prospect still, or is she kind of just?
I would say no.
It's hard to say.
She's about to become the first flyweight to have 10 fights.
Yeah, that's why. But if you have,
but she's so young, right? She's 20. It's funny if she hadn't been in the UFC so long. She's 25 years old, and this is only her 14th pro. 14 pro bouts is pretty experienced. But you're right. Depending on the circumstances, someone else could be 25 years old and have like 14 fights outside the UFC, and we would still consider them a prospect, right? But it's true.
She was on that tough season too, right? She was on
Correct.
that flyweight season. Yeah, so she's gone through the Ultimate Fighter, so she's had even more fights there that aren't on her pro record.
Yeah.
I don't.
Well, how about this? I would just say there's definitely Robertson. There's definitely plenty of time for her to get better. With her age and everything. So I just like that fight a lot, and I think I enjoy watching Random Maverick fight, and that's the fight I'm excited for.
I mean, you talk about super prospects.
She's got
Random Maverick's definitely right up there.
Let's not.
Jillian's fought like really good competition, like all the way through.
Oh yeah, 100%.
Even in her last two amateur fights were Lindsey Van Zandt and Cheyenne Bays. Her first pro fight was Hannah Goldy, who was supposed to be on this card, and her fourth pro fight was Cynthia Calvillo. Her fifth pro fight was Hannah Cyphers before she even got to the Ultimate Fighter. So she has not had an easy road to get here, that's for sure. And even in the UFC, just look at who she's fought. Look at the last Macy Barber, Courtney Casey, Pauliana Botelho, Tyler Santos is no joke, and now she's gonna fight Miranda Maverick. Like, man, murderer's row. Absolutely. For Gillian Robertson.
But it's a tough fight for Miranda Maverick as well, right? I mean, this is a real stiff veteran test. I mean, this is the sort of the litmus test we always talk about, right? How good is Miranda Maverick? Everyone's very high on her. Everyone kind of sees her as a future contender. I know we talked about. I know our cool Alex is a fan, definitely Miranda Maverick fan. Has certainly picked her to be someone who could contend for a title. You know, maybe not this year, but sometime in the near future. So yeah, the hype is around it. But Robertson, very legit, as we said, 10 flyweight appearances, has all the finishing records so far in the relatively young division. Not a layup. If anyone, like, this is not necessarily a showcase fight for Miranda Maverick. So I totally see why you guys have your eyes on that one. Jose, do you have a different choice for fight to kind of keep Sleeper? An eye on? Maybe overlooked fight?
Yeah. I'm really excited for Shane Young and Omar Morales. Omar's only loss. Like, is his only loss to Giga? Is he what? Is that his only pro loss? And that was on Fight Island. So like, that's nothing to hang at. Yeah. Omar Morales' only loss is to Giga, and then Shane Young, he's coming off that pretty bad loss on Fight Island. But who was it? What's his name? Lodovic
Klein.
Yeah, he missed weight by like several pounds. Yeah, he missed weight by several pounds, and it was also a last minute fight. Yeah, and before that, his only other loss was to Volkanovski, who's, of course, now his teammate at City Kickboxing. So I think that fight absolutely rules at featherweight, and I wish it was higher up on the card.
Yeah, I have to go with Young Morales as well. That fight looks friggin' sick, and I'm glad again. None of the reports we heard, or the reports that we heard earlier this week, they turned out to be a little bit premature, and that's good. And again, fingers crossed. Again, as Jose always mentions, we have had a lot of Saturday sort of fight day cancellations. Hopefully that nothing happens to any of the matches we have so far, but we don't want to jump too soon and say, oh, all these fights are definitely happening. But we're certainly looking forward to what we have on paper so far. We haven't seen anyone weigh in for a bit. Let's talk a little more then, I guess, about Woodley and Luque. We kind of lumped it in there with the Almeida O'Malley talk before. Let's talk about Woodley. What did you guys think of what you saw from Woodley's interviews this week, how he's approaching this fight mentally? Casey, let me go to you first. What do you think of what you saw from Woodley this week? His attitude.
Seemed good. I take very little from those 5 minutes of the day, of the whole week that we see of them. But in those 5 minutes, he seemed fine. The only thing is, by this fight, if we just got to see if Woodley is significantly he's just old. He's not the same fighter anymore. We don't know, like the three gentlemen he lost to, maybe they were always better than him. We don't know. And I think a lot of people are just concerned, Woodley doesn't look like he's trying enough and everything, but maybe Woodley just fought better competition, and and his heart is in it, but he just fought better. He just fought better fighters. And but I think the Luque fight is going to be extremely important for him to see if he's still an elite welterweight or just a guy that's I can make 170 and fight tough. I don't. And for Luque, this fight is obviously such a big deal because he's kind of been. I know we don't like throwing the gatekeeper thing out there all the time, but when he fights top 5 guys, he loses. Luque, he's only had 2 opportunities, I think, with Edwards a while back and Wonder Boy. But this is Luque's chance to prove that he's an elite welterweight, and I like the matchup. It's just too bad it's the co-main event because the original co-main event was way more awesome. But here we are.
Trying not to think about that. For some reason, I've been able to sort of forget that we lost a really great featherweight fight, of course, between Volkanovski.
Because I think we were almost expecting something like that. I think that's why, because we've had a couple of weeks with the big fights not dropping off, and then it finally came back. So it's like, oh yeah, I remember this feeling. We've been fortunate. Mike, obviously, Luque is not Kamaru Usman. He's not Gilbert Burns. He's not Colby Covington. But do you foresee a scenario where we could see, what kind of people, the kind of Woodley that people are afraid of seeing these days, the one that backs up against the fence, lets his opponent dictate the pace of the fight, and looks afraid to pull the trigger? Are you feeling optimistic about this one, or is it hard to shake off kind of that image that we've seen of Woodley in some of his recent performances?
I honestly have no idea. I have no clue because we don't know what Tyron Woodley's going to show up. Is it the same guy that we've seen the last, 3 fights who is just hasn't pulled the trigger at all? Because I think Tyron's still a good fighter. He just I don't know. There's something about him that's just not pulling the trigger. And Casey makes a great point. Yeah. He's fought 3 guys that are probably arguably the 3 best welterweights in the world right now. So you give him that, but still when you're fighting Colby Covington, like how many times are we going to say like, this is the one, where Tyron's really going to show who he's made, like what he's made of. Like if you weren't going to get up for the Colby fight, I just don't know what else can get you motivated outside of the title at this point. So Vicente's got, obviously Gilbert Burns had a great performance against Tyron, one of his better performances of his career. And of course, Gilbert Burns and Vicente Luque are very close. So whatever happened in that fight, I'm sure that's been passed along to Vicente. And Casey also made a great point. The UFC clearly likes Vicente Luque. They're putting him in these prime positions to succeed. Can he do it? Can he get over that hump? So I have no idea what's going to happen in this fight. And that's why I like it so much, because it's so interesting. And normally, like, even my gut will tell me one thing or the other. But with this fight, I have no clue what's going to happen, because I don't know what Woodley's going to show up. And I don't know what Vicente Luque is going to show up. Is it the guy that's just run through everybody and knocked everybody out? Or is it the guy that fought Wonder Boy that just fought a guy that was just better than him? We'll see. I have no freaking clue what is going to happen tomorrow night in this fight, but that's what makes it so interesting to me. Tyron, everything's on the line for Tyron Woodley.
Well, I also like about
I'm sure.
Too, what I also like about
Casey,
this fight too
yeah.
is Luque. If Luque, in my opinion, if he defeats Woodley, he would defeat him in a way that those 3 other guys, Covington, Usman, or Gilbert Burns, didn't beat him. Like, those guys beat him kind of with just basically a stronger wrestling game, more aggressive, better just top control, just some better cage control, keeping Woodley on his back against either the cage or the floor for most of the fight. Luque is not that type of fighter normally, and he's a guy that will just brawl with you, and he's got good jiu-jitsu. If he gets in compromising positions, I'm sure he can get his way. He can make his way out of it. But I think the reason the UFC loves Luque is because he likes to brawl. He will throw down, and like every fight, Luque's face is rearranged, and somehow he comes back and does it again. And so if Luque beats Woodley, it's going to be in a way we haven't seen before. And I think that's why this fight's unique. He's not going against another wrestler who I seriously doubt Luque will be able to hold Woodley down for 3 rounds. So so I think we're going to see something different.
Colby was piecing Tyron up on the feet too, like through a lot of that fight. He outlanded him 232 to 67 in that fight.
Standing?
That's insane. Yeah. Significant strikes, 78 significant strikes but he landed 232 total strikes.
Yeah, but even
he only had 3 takedowns.
But you only need 1 takedown a round. That's what I mean. Like
right, but
yeah,
right. And early on, the wrestling was a factor, but as the fight progressed, there was a lot of Colby just putting on the volume on Tyron, putting him against the fence, beating him up.
But I think that fight also, I think even Woodley talked about it. Like he got injured early in that fight, right? And so basically the rest of the fight, he was just suffering the rest of the fight. Like, so that fight kind of ended like in the 2nd round with his rib injury, and of course the rib injury finally hurt too much by the 5th round. I think when he was trying to get out of a guillotine or something like that. So I understand what you're saying, but I think that downfall all started with the wrestling of Covington. That really, because like to me, Covington's striking is, without his wrestling, the striking really isn't a threat.
Yeah, I think regardless,
Luque doesn't have the same wrestling advantage that Covington may have. So.
Yeah, but I think one issue that concerns me, and I think a lot of people kind of who are hesitant to sort of pick Woodley in this scenario, is where has he looked good? Like, what area has he looked good in any of his recent fights? Right, like that's kind of the scary part. Jose, Jose, I think like a lot of us, we were sort of like looking to that Covington fight as we said many times, this is the one he's got to get up for. Clearly, it was didn't go his way, and it wasn't a particularly strong performance in defeat. I mean. Do you feel like, remembering that fight, did you feel completely discouraged by Woodley at that point? Or were you still kind of looking at like, as in he lost to Usman, he lost to Gilbert Burns, he lost to Covington, this is just, it's just the competition? Or do you really feel like something's kind of been lost there with Woodley?
I'm not sure. I think the most alarming thing was I feel like all 3 fights, were the same. Like he just got stuck against the fence. And usually on high level fighters, the thing that kind of separates the elite from really good fighters are the adjustments they make, especially fight to fight. Like that's kind of what we're talking about with Francis here. Like the adjustments he made from the first fight, how can he implement them in this next fight? Same as like we saw it against Dustin Poirier. He made adjustments fight to fight, and now he's one of the best fighters in the world. So I just think Tyron Woodley got stuck against the fence 3 fights in a row, and then and he got pieced up the entire time. And like you could hitters and just just switch them around, and it seems like the same fight. So I think that was the most alarming thing for me, is just the lack of adjustments that Tyron Woodley made. I don't know what was going on in his personal life or his camp, so I'm not even going to try to guess. But I guess that was the most frustrating thing for me to watch, because he's clearly very, very talented and clearly one of the greatest welterweights of all time. I just thought he was better. I just think he was better than he showed.
I agree with that a lot. I mean, I think it's what we saw. You know, it's not even just the results. Like it's kind of like what we've been saying. You look at the names, you're like, okay, fair enough, anyone can lose them. But it is, I think we all have a pretty clear, vivid image of what happened in the Usman fight, what happened in the Burns fight, what happened in the Covington fight, and yeah, it is hard to kind of have confidence in that, right?
But look at some of Woodley's earlier losses when he was still kind of working his way up to the championship. We said the same thing when he fought when he lost to Rory McDonald. It was like, he's just not trying. Like, it always seemed like a lack of motivation. Like he's not trying. We've said this a lot. We've said this a lot. Oh,
I'll disagree with that. I thought the Rory fight, he was just outclassed. I remember when I saw the Rory fight, it wasn't. I did not view that as like, oh, what's wrong with Tyron? That was a wow, Rory's really good, and we thought Rory would be a future UFC champion. So I'll disagree with that a little bit.
But he was a future contender. That's what I mean. He lost to just really good guys. That's why this Luque fight is so like. Rory McDonald at that time, and still is, I still consider him an elite welterweight. Luque isn't there. Luque is a super high action welterweight that we love to watch fight, but we don't really consider him a top 5 guy. And that's why I like this fight. You know, it's like, all right, can Woodley beat just a good welterweight, not a great welterweight? So
yeah. It is great matchmaking. There's no question. This is the kind of match for both these guys where they are in their career. This is really, really smart matchmaking. Again, will it be a great fight? We don't know. I mean, that's a wild card for anything. You know, you can't. That's not in the matchmaker's hands. They kind of do their best to sort of figure that thing out. So, will it be a great fight? I don't know.
Has Luque been in a bad fight? Has Luque been in? When's the last time Luque was in a non-entertaining fight? That's what I mean. Like he's one of those. Maybe
the Wonder Boy fight wasn't great. Yeah, but that's because Wonder Boy makes a lot of people look bad.
If you're a Wonder Boy fan, that was an amazing fight. That was a good fight. What are you talking about? I mean, I'm sure not for Luque. It didn't feel great, but.
Oh, it did win Fight of the Night, so there you go. My memory of that is clearly. But then again, so did the first Wonder Boy Woodley fight, which wasn't like it was okay. It wasn't like that great.
Wow, you're even look at you. Changing history, rewriting history.
My revisionist Wonder Boy. I'm working on a Wonder Boy book. It's a Wonder Boy slam book. It's completely dissecting the myth of Wonder Boy. So look for that at Amazon.com for free by sometime next year, because no one will pay for that. Tyron Woodley, the other issue is he's turns 39 in about 2 weeks. And 39 isn't like, it's not like the,
we got movement,
but we've got movement. I'll keep chattering until he turns 39 in 2 weeks. And he's been fighting competing and wrestling at an elite level and fighting at an elite level since 2000. So for almost 20 years. So think about that again when we're kind of wondering. Yeah, he debuted MMA 2009 pro debut, and was fight strike by his 4th fight against pretty decent competition. So, for the time undefeated, right? And it's certainly been taking its toll on one Mr. Tyron Woodley.
Is Luque top 10 ranked?
He is not.
That's crazy too. So I'm looking at his schedule. Maybe since Josh Koscheck in 2013, he's fighting a non-top 10 fighter.
I'm mistaken. He is 10th.
Okay, well, regardless.
So, my mistake.
Luque is okay. I'll just go and say Luque is the lowest ranked fighter Tyron Woodley has faced since 2013 when he fought Josh Koscheck.
Here we go. Champion of the world, Stipe Miocic. The champ is here, Stipe Miocic.
Is he going to be in the 230s again, AK?
Yeah, I think so. I don't think he's bulked up at all. He's said it many times. He doesn't care about bulking up for opponents. That sort of thing.
£234, the official weight of the champion, Stipe Miocic.
As usual, I am completely wrong. 244 for the champ.
I thought it was 34.
Oh, it's 34. I am completely, as usual, I am completely right. 234 for the champ. Did you say 234 on the dot?
That's Bret Hart's weight from WWF.
Did you 234 on the dot before he stepped up? Did you not just say 234 exactly?
What? Jose, was that 234 or 244?
It's
30.
Oh, 34. Okay.
It's 34. Yeah. Mike, you said 234 exactly, right?
234.
Yeah.
But
and that's you just predict.
You've been 235 if he grew his mustache back.
No, he is looking sharp for his fifth. I want to say fifth total title defense, right? Second of this will be second of this reign. Fifth overall. Yes, this will be the fifth overall because he won it back from Daniel Cormier, of course, and then won it again in the immediate trilogy bout. So
how many?
That was a fun one.
How long has it been since he's fought in someone not named Daniel Cormier?
Or Francis Ngannou.
What
2017.
2017. That was the last time he fought someone not named Cormier, not named Ngannou. And that was a rematch, by the way. That was a rematch with Junior Dos Santos. So
oh yeah.
The last time he fought a quote unquote fresh opponent would be Alistair Overeem before that. UFC 203, September.
Well, I think the
10th,
first time he fought Daniel Cormier was a fresh opponent.
Well, you know what we mean.
Touche.
Well, now,
no, there's no touche.
Now
understand.
We're changing. We're changing.
Then I realized.
People understand what we're talking. People understand what we're saying. It's a very clear point we're making here. But, yeah.
Not named to Daniel Cormier. Yes.
Were either of you?
Yeah, I know. We said specifically not named Cormier, but yeah, of course, Daniel Cormier.
That was the original caveat.
That was the original question. Alistair Overeem.
Okay, you can be a stickler for pronunciations. I'll be a stickler for facts. Deal.
Well, I mean, there's being a stickler and there's just being wrong. So I'm just saying you might want to figure out that distinction first before.
When was the last time he fought? When was the last time he fought someone not named Daniel Cormier? Well, the first Daniel Cormier fight. There you go.
Alistair Overeem, UFC 203. This is September 10th, 2016. The infamous Stipe tapped fight, of course. Which we all, oh Lord.
Okay.
One of many.
Were either of you? Were either of you gentlemen in Cleveland for that fight? Stipe versus Overeem. I do not understand why the UFC. Well, I mean, I'll take away the pandemic stuff, but every freaking fight that Stipe fights should be in Cleveland. When Stipe is outside of Cleveland, I was like, oh, he's a really good heavyweight. I like Stipe. In Cleveland, my God, he was a rock star. I couldn't believe how loud that arena popped for him. Everything, I was like, oh, this is where Stipe only should fight in Cleveland. This is like the only place you should fight at. Like it was like I was like, oh, I get it. You know, he has the it factor in Cleveland. It was wild. Like I've never seen a bigger just jump in popularity. Maybe outside of GSP when he fights in Canada, really. But GSP is kind of popular everywhere. But Stipe in Cleveland, wow, I was shocked.
Yeah, and I loved when he won the title. I love this is one thing I think the UFC did, and he did a really good job of. And whoever it is that handles his PR stuff was doing the whole like he was the first guy to bring a championship to back to Cleveland. You know what I mean? Like obviously it's a totally different thing with individual athlete and like a team sports. But I just like that they tried that. That they put that out there. And then of course the Cleveland Cavaliers won a title later, and you could kind of tie it all together. I thought that was like a really great moment. You're right, Case. There's so much strong like Cleveland, and somewhat I guess Ohio in general love. For Stipe, it is crazy that he hasn't fought there in so long. Obviously,
the UFC never went back to Cleveland.
No, I guess not. Is that right? Jose? They haven't been back to Cleveland since 2003.
They have not.
Damn. Yeah, that seems silly.
Yeah, of all the towns they go to, I didn't understand why Cleveland wasn't like a yearly stop. So. And Cleveland is where I went to a pro wrestling show, and I got to see Matt Riddle and Shayna Baszler wrestle. Before, way pre when before they were in WWE. And Ronda Rousey was there supporting Shayna.
Oh, that show.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's crazy. Gosh, that seems like a lifetime ago now. What did you guys think? Let's bring it up. What did you guys think this week?
Oh, wait, we got movement?
Movement.
Oh, we have movement. Thank you.
Next fighter to the scale is the #1 UFC heavyweight contender in the world out of Petit, Cameroon, Francis Ngannou.
Holy moly.
Uh-oh.
Whoa. That is a Ford Escort for sure. Good Lord.
263 pounds, the official weight for Francis Ngannou.
263 pounds, Francis Ngannou. Oh, almost 20 pounds heavier than the champion, who weighed in earlier.
Almost 30 pounds heavier.
I am so bad at this. Almost 30 pounds heavier. Regardless, both men made weight, and you know what that means. Guys, our heavyweight championship main event on Saturday is official. Math is hard. Math is hard. But yes, Francis Ngannou looking spectacular on the scale.
Dude,
and next, we now have our
Francis broke the internet. Francis broke the internet.
Oh no, that was too hot. That was too hot for YouTube. We have been taken down, possibly demonetized. That dude is
deplatformed. Yeah,
Francis Ngannou works out. Listen, we've done a lot of like breaking down of like, why is Ngannou favored this time around? Why was he favored the first time around? And then I'll say this: you just look at Francis Ngannou. He'd pretty much be favored in a fight against any other human being on planet Earth. If you knew nothing about either guy, you would be like, yeah, that guy's gonna knock somebody out. So who knows? Maybe this is the beginning of the Francis Ngannou era. I'm sure the UFC would be happy about it. I'm sure there's a lot of fans out there who want to see what this guy could possibly do as champion, but he's got a huge obstacle in his way in Stipe Miocic, who has already shown he has the formula for beating him. So I don't know if we want to get to picks yet, guys. I know we'll be doing a preview show later. I'll tell people on YouTube, guys, shout out, please, in the comments. Who do you think's going to win? Just say Stipe, say Miocic, say Francis, say Ngannou. There are nicknames out there. Stipe doesn't have a nickname, does he? Yeah.
Champion.
Disappointing. Champion, yeah. Champion, hashtag and new, hashtag and still, whatever phrase you guys want to use to show your allegiance.
Scale, taking part of the co-main event live on pay-per-view tomorrow night, the UFC's welterweight division, 10th ranked, Vicente Luque.
Vicente Luque now.
$170.5 pounds, the official weight for Vicente Luque.
170.5 for Vicente Luque. We are still awaiting his opponent, former UFC welterweight champion, Tyron Woodley.
Luque's fight was it Brian Barberena? Yeah, that is seriously one of my favorite fights ever. I freaking love that fight. That was when Brian Barberena walked out to Baby Shark too, I think. How's he doing? I love Brian Barberena. Is he injured?
He's still recovering. What was the surgery? He had to have surgery. What was it surgery on again, Mike?
Something in his stomach. I don't remember exactly what it was. It was some big name, but I forgot what it was.
Yeah.
Dr. Heck.
It's crazy. It's crazy. It feels like Vicente Luque, even though we've said he hasn't beaten a top 5 guy. First of all, he hasn't had that many opportunities to. Like we said, Stephen Thompson, fine, and no shame in losing to him. And Leon Edwards, before Leon Edwards had kind of really established that he was a top 5 guy. So those are really his only shots he's had to kind of break into, break further up in the rankings. But otherwise, this is a guy who gets first round finishes all the time. Is it weird, guys, that he's not a bigger star and not more heavily promoted by the UFC, or do you think there's only so much you can do given
Luque?
his accomplishments so far? Yeah,
I mean, I think they're doing it right here. I mean, he's facing Woodley. You know, normal welterweights don't get to face former champs. No, they're putting guy. The UFC is putting someone they think that can move the needle. And that's why I think the UFC is getting behind Luque, because Luque is not a guy that you can do a bunch of cool promos on, because he's just not that type of talker.
I was going to say
he's an in the cage guy, so you can only really highlight him by putting him in marquee fights, co-main event on a pay-per-view. That's pretty good.
Well, it wasn't originally planned that way. Remember, this was originally.
But even then, coming right before 2 title fights, I mean, that's without headlining. I guess outside of headlining a pay-per-view, headlining a fight night, this is probably the best they could do for Luque, I think.
Sure. It just seems so strange. When you see guys, I mean, and look, you made the distinction why, like guys like Kevin Holland, guys like Sean O'Malley, who have, I get it, very easily sellable personalities. They're great at selling themselves, which again, I don't know if Luque's had the chance to or not, but certainly we know O'Malley can, we know Kevin Holland can, we know guys like that can. But like he's had similar, if not better. Like, man, he's had so many. He finished like 8 of 9 opponents at one point. He's got a 4-fight win streak on there, a 5-fight win streak, and yet somehow he's so far, I would say, from being unknown.
He lost a Wonder Boy fight. If he beats Wonder Boy,
yeah.
If he beats Wonder Boy, he maybe he was fighting for the title. He's like 1 win away. So it's just.
But there are fighters who are like less accomplished than him. They've got like Edmund Shabazian probably has gotten more of a a little bit more of a jump, a push, I would say, than Luque has had, like at any point, right?
But what did Edmund Shabazian have? What was his angle?
He was undefeated. He's the golden boy.
The Ronda Rousey thing.
The Ronda Rousey connection, yes.
I mean, a lot of hooks. There was no I don't know, what do you call that? Like no selling point for Luque other than he's really exciting to watch.
Luque doesn't have any hooks. He was on The Ultimate Fighter, which nobody cares about anymore, unfortunately. And it's true. Other than saying he's finished his fights, here's the thing: and this is probably my fault, not Luque's fault. I don't know a lot about Vicente Luque's personality. If you ask me, like, describe, say 3 things about Vicente, Mike, I'll go to you. You might know more than I do. If I said say 3 things about Vicente Luque's personality, what would you like come up with?
Or his story.
He's a nice guy. I've only spoken to him one time, and it was a long time ago. So I don't know. I mean, I've seen the one time I talked to him wasn't even in an interview. He's just a really nice guy that has incredible power and likes to play spoiler. I remember when he fought Bilal Muhammad at MSG, and that was like a pretty big deal. And or was that line? Was that Luque? That was Luque, right? That knocked out Bilal?
Yes.
It was him. Okay, yeah. He played a little bit of spoiler in that fight. So
he had a fun story. I know AK didn't watch, but maybe Casey and Mike did at Media Day of his running into Tyron Woodley backstage at UFC 205, because that was the card Woodley fought Stephen Thompson.
that was good stuff. It's clipped everywhere too.
But look at that, Mike. You've met the man, and you can't say anything about his personality besides saying he's a nice guy, right? So your average fan, I think, even, unless they, go ahead. What can you say about Luque's personality?
Luque is low-key the most metal fighter I've ever met.
Oh.
Like, he loves being I don't know, it's like bizarre how much he like relishes being in like violent fights and just having his opponent's blood on him. It is just, it's nuts to me. Like, he's a really nice guy, but he has like these one-liners. I'm just like, Jesus, man. Like I'm sure everyone's heard the story. You were there, full suit, or like not a full suit, but like he's dressed nice, and he's like, "Oh, I gotta go get married now and have a scar. Like, this is awesome." I'm just like, "You're crazy." And then before he gets into the scrum, he's fixing his hair, And like to himself, he's like, "Oh, good, the blood will act like hair gel," and he's using his opponent's blood to fix his hair. And I'm just like, this is what God, I needed this on camera. He's just such an intense dude, but he is a nice guy. That's the definition of a martial artist. And I've said this before, where my definition of a martial artist is just a gentleman that can beat your ass in the most violent way possible. And that is Vicente Luque.
Yeah, and look, that's like that the blood hair gel story is disturbing, for one, and it's one that I wish like more. Like why is that not more well? And again, I'm probably just ignorant to it. But I mean, I also feel like most fans don't know about it. I think that's fair.
I was there when he says these things. Like that was true. But like Jose, even like if we were doing a reenactment, that it sounds like Jose. But Luque is actually such a nice guy. He just kind of says it very casually. Like he's about to do the interview. He's like, oh blood. Oh, I fixed my hair.
Yeah, we're like he
does it so casual, like you don't even notice.
Like we were waiting at the scrums, and he's like because it's what Casey said is 100% because we're all waiting for him, and he apologizes. He goes, "Hold on 1 second, I'm really sorry. I got to fix my hair. I'm using the blood like hair gel." And I was like, "Oh God!" Like that's like he's apologizing, and then he's using blood in his hair to fix it. Like, come on.
That's a fighter.
But it doesn't. It doesn't make it like that moment, like you said. I don't. Was that even on camera? Did you guys record? Did people catch that on video, or was that you're just remembering that before?
It was literally like he did away from the scrum, fixed his hair, and then came in.
Because that would be like if that had been caught on camera, and like I said, maybe if he'd sold it a little more, like that would have been an amazing viral clip. You know what I mean? That's the thing that the Kevin Hollands have a good grasp of, the Sean O'Malley's have a good grasp of. They really create these like viral sound bites. Derek Lewis, of course. You know, and that moment could have been one of them, but like I said, it happened off camera. You said it was very, very kind of polite, almost offhand, like he's not even trying to sell himself. And unfortunately, yeah, it kind of sucks that like that kind of behavior is not rewarded necessarily with attention and with the appreciation of a lot of people.
He's not a big name because he doesn't look the part. I mean, I've been kind of saying the same thing for a while about Charles Oliveira. I've seen that man fight 20 times probably now in the UFC. Ask me, what do you know about Charles Oliveira outside if he's a really good fighter? I was like, he carries like a lucky rock, and he wears glasses, likes Jesus. I don't know. And I've seen 20
Jesus.
Loves Jesus. Wait, likes Jesus.
Featherweight division, Omar Morales.
And this is wrong with Luque too. Like I just know very little about him other than he just crushes people in the cage violently.
We have Omar Morales coming up next. Trying to make 145.
even. 146 pounds, the official weight for Omar Morales.
146 for Omar Morales, making use of that 1 pound allowance. No issue there. And his fight with Shane Young, for now, is official.
For now.
I was saying, everything they've been talking about this week, I don't know. But yeah, Casey, I mean, yeah, to pick up on that. Hello.
Here to kick off the main card here live tomorrow night in UFC's lightweight division, Khama Worthy.
Very exciting guy coming up now. Khama Worthy.
What was his last fight?
He lost. Was that Azaitar?
To the other Azaitar.
Yeah. Okay.
Ottoman.
Oh yeah, he took it. Yeah, he got it. Yeah. Now I remember. E.
$155.5 pounds, the official weight for Khama Worthy.
155.5 for Khama Worthy, coming in at the same weight as his opponent, Jay Mullarkey. The main card opener of UFC 260 is now official. Trying to see if it's safe to continue our stardom discussion. Okay.
Don't you feel a little more alive every time you hear that?
it literally brings me back to reality and just makes any bad thoughts just escape my head. Oh, I think I had to ban someone. Oh no, sorry guys, we got a spammer. We got a spammer.
Thank you.
Gotta get rid of the spammer.
Thank you for handling that for me.
Oh, of course, I can't not handle it. But yeah, bring up the Oliveira Luque thing. Super exciting fighters, finished fights. But yeah, you're right. There's a look, there's ability to sell yourself, things that matter, and this really goes against sort of what I've been arguing all week. Anyone who's seen me tweet or I don't know mention this on any of our shows, like I didn't love the Kevin Holland the chitter chatter in his recent fight with Derek Brunson, but no one will ever say that Kevin Holland does not know how to market himself. Does not. He certainly has a person. There's so many things about Kevin Holland you could say before even getting to his fighting ability. Like if someone asks you, what's Kevin Holland like? You could say probably like 10 things before you go into like, oh, and by the way, he fights like this. And that is an amazing gift. That is something that separates you from the pack. So yes, to play devil's advocate against myself, there is something to be said about, being able to create big, high quality sound bites.
Look at Davis and Figueiredo. It took so long to find out more about him, and he's like one of the more interesting cats like in all of MMA. Like all the odd jobs he did along the way, like being a hairdresser and doing all these different things. Like that is an interesting cat, and it took him like fighting for the belt to even learn that stuff about him, which is crazy. You know what I mean? Like, but now that people know that, like people want to see him. Like you kind of get his personality a little bit more. Plus, he just absolutely just floors people and sleeps people at 125. Like, and he's just an exciting fighter. And now you know more about him. Like, he's just an interesting cat. So, I mean, sometimes it just takes time for those stories to come out. But when you win fights, people want to know more about you. So if Vicente Luque beats Tyron Woodley, you best believe he's going to be doing interviews with everybody. He's going to be all over the place, and we're going to learn all sorts of different things about Vicente Luque that we didn't know before, besides using blood for hair gel before a scrum.
And also,
thank you, Mike. And that's everyone.
If Luque wins,
winning matters the most.
Yeah,
go ahead.
Winning matters.
Winning matters the most
because no one. If you beat Tyron Woodley, according to history, you will fight for a UFC title. Everyone that's beaten Tyron Woodley has fought for a UFC title. Did Nate Marquardt fought for a title, right? He fought for he fought for a title before. And then he's one knocked out Woodley for the Marquardt won the Strikeforce title by knocking out Woodley.
That's right. And the fight I think was very important to Woodley's development. I think he learned a lot from the fight. It's one of those losses that I think you grow from, but that's the one that when people look back on, it's almost a shocking result. Not that Nate Marquardt wasn't good, but just knowing what happened, how good Tyron Woodley became, and for him to get starched like that was like, wow. And if you'll remember that fight, Nate Marquardt looked significantly better than that version of Tyron Woodley. So yeah, if anyone has a chance to go back and watch that fight, it's like it feels like 20 years ago. I guess it almost did. Well, no, it's 10, maybe less.
10. I was there.
Math is hard, guys. Math is hard.
I was there.
What was Ngannou? He was like 10 pounds heavier than Miocic, something like that. It was 263, 260, like 10 pounds, something, right?
10 pounds.
I don't know, guys. It's hard. I don't have my calculator.
One of my favorite things, going back to Ngannou real quick, my favorite things is when guys like Ngannou or when Cain Velasquez first fought in the UFC, when they were just these random heavyweights, how Joe Rogan completely butchers their names. Completely.
Velasquez?
Oh,
Velasquez?
Yeah. Do you know what Rogan used to call Ngannou?
I'm almost afraid to ask.
He was like Francis Ngannou.
Oh yeah,
Ngannou. Francis Ngannou.
That's if you look at it for the first time.
No. By his third fight, he was still saying this. It wasn't like
Ngannou.
His third fight, he was like this Ngannou guy. He can really punch.
If only Mike Goldberg was around to help him with the pronunciation. Man, really, guys, I gotta tell you on the YouTube, guys, if you have questions, guys, we're here. We can answer questions for you, right? You have our 4 experts. You have the human archive, Jose, who remembers everything. If you have any questions, please fire them away. Until then, guys, we've got about 40 minutes left. I think it's a good time for another recap. Let's let people know what they're waiting for. We are still waiting on Tyron Woodley, so that's one I thought would have weighed in by now, and I was pretty wrong on that one. So, Mike, go ahead, take it away, and let them know how we're looking so far.
Thank you, AK. Is a new. Oh, look at that! All right, So the main event is official. Stipe Miocic weighted at 234 pounds ahead of his heavyweight championship defense. The rematch is official with Francis Ngannou weighted at 263 pounds. Vicente Luque weighed in at 170 and a half, still awaiting the arrival of Tyron Woodley. Thomas Almeida and Sean O'Malley both weighed in at 136. Gillian Robertson was the first to the scale earlier today, 125 and a half. She takes on Miranda Maverick, who weighed in at 126. Jamie Mullarkey, 155 and a half. Khama Worthy, also 155 and a half. That is your main card. Alonzo Menifield weighed in at 205, still awaiting the arrival of UFC newcomer Fabio Cherant, who might be coming up right now. More on the rundown coming up in a moment because we got movement, folks.
That was exciting.
Thank you. That was. Thank you, Mike, for handling that. We will finish that recap when we get a chance later. Someone's coming. Who? Oh my gosh, the suspense, guys. The suspense.
I'm kind of surprised the UFC didn't have a backup heavyweight just in case one got the Rona. No, they've been doing so many backups these last few events for pay-per-view fights. Kind of surprised. I guess the two title fights was I guess the other title fight was the backup in a sense.
Yeah, true. If they had lost both, I don't know what they would have done. I guess on with the show, but
yeah.
John Anik looking a little impatient.
Yeah, geez, Anik, man. Wait, you train MMA like a week, and now you're all like, tough guy in it, man. What's up with that guy?
He had a look on his face like, do these people know who I am?
Yeah,
you keep me, John Anik, waiting.
On pay-per-view tomorrow night, the co-main event. He is the former undisputed UFC welterweight champion of the world and the chosen one, Tyron Woodley.
Here we go, the former champ, Tyron Woodley, coming up.
Even. 171 pounds, the official weight for T Wood.
171 for Tyron Woodley. Vicente Luque, his opponent, also successfully made weight earlier. It isn't official.
Oh, say it again. I lost you.
Oh, I'm sorry. Tyron Woodley, 171. His opponent, Vicente Luque, also successfully making weight earlier, meaning the welterweight co-main event of UFC 260 is now official. Tyron Woodley looking great on the scale as always. No surprises there. That's never been in question. Always been professional when it comes to weigh-in day. Mike, I kind of asked this before. Someone, I'll call him out. Our own Stephen Morocco is asking me, did Tyron's voice seem? I'll call him out. Did Tyron's voice seem raspy at media day? Was there a raspiness to Tyron Woodley's voice that was noticeable?
It was dry. But I mean, that happens. Like I remember covering UFC 220 and talking to DC before his title fight with Volkan Ozdemir, and DC sounded exactly the same, dry in the mouth. He's cutting weight. Woodley's a big dude. He probably cuts 30 pounds more than likely. So he's probably in the middle of a weight cut, just was a little dry mouth. That's what I sort of pin it to.
Yeah, if you go back to any Woodley's previous pre-fight interviews, like a day before, 2 days before weigh-ins, it sounds about the same.
Raspgate has been solved. That is the Raspgate has been resolved. There's got to be some questions. No questions.
Okay, let's go back. Why Vicente Luque isn't a star? The man needs a nickname. He has no nickname. Come on.
He has no nickname. You know what? Because I was just thinking.
Tyron Woodley came out, and John Anik gave him two nicknames. He got him the chosen one, and then he calls him T Wood.
Yes.
He got two nicknames.
When you guys were talking about Luque and sort of just explain, I could not stop thinking about Carlos Condit. And I'm not saying Luque is as good as Carlos Condit. I'm just thinking why couldn't Luque necessarily have that kind of reputation? And then a big part of it is Carlos Condit has one of the best nicknames in all of MMA, the Natural Born Killer. You throw that up on a marquee. That is and you're right.
Had a title.
Yeah. He's had an interim title, which I count as legit. He's an interim UFC title. Did he? What was a double EC? Did they have?
I'm sure. I think
welterweight title.
I'm not sure if he was the title holder there in WC. I think he was the title holder in Rumble on the Rock though. But yeah.
I think he lost that to Jake Shields.
Oh,
I think he made it to the finals because it was that tournament.
Yeah, the welterweight tournament. One of the best welterweight tournaments.
That's
ever.
Crazy.
Yeah.
If you look at the names who were in that.
He was
like,
Carlos Condit was the was a one-time and final WEC welterweight champ. He defended it 3 times, and he was undefeated in WEC. He's also had Fight of the Nights 5 times in the UFC against literally who's all of his Fight of the Nights. Listen to this: Rory McDonald, GSP, Johnny Hendricks, Marin Kettman, Robbie Lawler. 2 of those are probably some of the greatest fights I've ever seen in my entire life in GSP and the Robbie Lawler fight.
Yeah.
Carlos Condit is a great fighter who was just so close to like just Mount Rushmore status. You know, he was so close. Like he was so close to knocking out GSP. Like look at that kick that landed on GSP. Like it should have knocked GSP out. And of course he should have got the judge's decision when he fought Robbie Lawler. And it's a bummer.
Yes, it is a bummer, but that fight's still one of the. I mean, I think it's maybe the greatest fight in MMA history. I don't know. Maybe just Jose just mentioned
greatest
it. Maybe
round 5 for sure, ever.
What?
That was awesome.
The GSP.
No, Lawler.
I think the Condit Lawler fight is
Condit.
maybe the greatest fight I've ever seen.
I wouldn't argue against it. It's not a personal one, but I don't have a problem with it saying that. It's just hard because is that even the best? If someone argues that there are better fights between those 2 that they've had in their career, that's also true. If you want to tell me Lawler McDonald or Lawler Hendricks is better, fine. If you want to tell me Carlos Condit GSP is better, that's fine too. That might not even be that's how crazy that their careers are. That might not even be the best fights of their careers, and it's still epic.
It just it just shows you how stacked their resumes are, right? It's absurd. Jose, I'm seeing. I'm sorry, Casey. I'm seeing some questions about Saturday's card. Starting to come in finally. Thank you, YouTube viewers. I don't know if you want to grab one of those while we wait for our last. Mike, how many do we have left? 3? 2 people? 2? 3? 2.
Let me look at this.
That's right.
Let me look at that.
Gooden and Sharon
Hit me up,
are the last 2.
There we go. Gooden and Sharon. Yeah.
They have 32 minutes.
Sure.
Both guys have had hiccups with the scale in the past, so just keep that in mind. Plus, Sharon is taking this fight on short notice, really short notice.
Is he normally a light heavyweight? Sharon.
He's bounced around from, I believe, 85 to 205 and 205 to heavyweight in the past. His contender series fight, I believe, was at 205 against Oleksiejczuk. But mostly, mostly he's he's mostly a 205er though.
Yes, a lot of concern there for any fighter taking a fight on 2 or 3 days notice. So, Mike Riley wants to know if Stipe loses, do you book the trilogy or Jones versus Ngannou, or do you give Lewis a shot? Mike, I'll go to you first. What do you want to do? What do you want to do in the event of an Ngannou win?
He fights John Jones. It sucks for Stipe. It sucks. If he loses this fight, he deserves the immediate rematch, but he's not going to get it. He's just not going to get it. It's John Jones. Unless Stipe becomes what Khabib was for the Conor Eddie fight. You know what I mean? He becomes, if there's problems on the negotiation table with John Jones, Stipe becomes the negotiation guy to kind of throw things for a loop and get Jones to put pen to paper. So the A1 pick, Jones versus Ngannou, that's a massive fight. Absolutely massive if it happens. And Stipe's cut. Maybe Stipe gets the winner. Who the hell knows? But yeah, I don't see Stipe getting an immediate rematch unless they can't come to terms with Jones.
I agree with everything that man said.
Yeah, Jose, you're on site. So you got the in-person vibe from the big boss, from Dana White. Did you get the sense that he was maybe not super enthusiastic about a Stipe Miocic trilogy? What's your Miocic Ngannou trilogy? What was your feel on that?
Literally not. He even the Schmo asked that question at the press conference, and Dana White paused and was like, "That is a good question." So I don't, and there was you can kind of we've been covering the sport enough. You can kind of weed through the tomfoolery you get from the big boss, and I think that was genuine. He was like, "Phew," because even he said it Does he deserve it? Yup. But what's going to make the most money?
Here's what I saw.
That's
Here's
real.
what I saw. What I saw was, I can't believe someone actually thinks Stipe would get the immediate rematch over John Jones. I don't even know how to address this. That's honestly, like, and it's wrong, but it's wrong. I mean, it's true though. It sucks to say that, but that's literally the truth. Like, John Jones is going to get that fight unless he asks for too much money and they can't book it. It sucks.
Yeah.
Let's
for
not
Stipe.
fantasy matchmake until this fight is over. Because for all we know, Stipe leaves with a broken jaw and still wins. So he might need some time to even just recover from fighting fighting Francis. And then if Francis goes 5 rounds and wins somehow, then, someone might get hurt. Might get a 6-month suspension. That's
For sure.
Definitely after the first match, Stipe and Ngannou, Stipe was the one that had to probably recover the most. He had to lick his wounds
100%.
longer. Yeah.
And look, we know that Stipe Miocic is perfectly willing to rest and sit on the sidelines if he has to. He's not going to settle for. He's certainly fine with holding out for money. Because how many times he fought since? He's only fought Cormier, I guess, over the last few years, and has not been the most active heavyweight. Let's be honest. And again, I'm not blaming him. He's a champ.
Well, a lot of that was injuries. That he had a bad eye injury, right? Was it? Stipe was out for a while
after the DC fight.
Yeah, so Stipe had a bad injuries and then the coronavirus. So yeah, I wouldn't put any of that on. And then he had contract issues with the UFC too. That
So if once a year for the last 4 years.
If the scenario that Jose just presented happens, where again Miocic wins, but maybe for whatever reason can't fight for a while, and then maybe decides, I'm not fighting for the rest of the year. I'm fine to rest and recover. He's a bit older now. What do you do with John Jones then? Does John Jones just fight someone else? Does he fight Derek Lewis? Does he get a fight with Ngannou anyway? What happens then? Or does he wait? Does he wait until next year for Stipe? Anyone? Go ahead. I don't know.
That's all it is, right?
Whatever makes the most money.
Right now we're learning this. Right, we're seeing this right now with Dustin Poirier. He's fighting a non-title fight to make more money off a title fight. Mm-hmm. So maybe for John Jones, it could be the same way. Like if the UFC negotiates with him and John Jones versus Derek Lewis or John Jones versus Francis for a non-title fight, assuming Francis loses, maybe that makes the same amount of money for John Jones. And they're like, yeah, I'll take it. I don't know. I'm just saying it's money. It kind of sucks. I know I want to talk more, but this fight makes more sense. But then I go, but the money. So like almost it throws every argument out the window. Money. So I kind of hate going back to that all the time, but it's kind of boring. But yeah.
we could have gotten John Jones, Francis Ngannou last year.
Yeah,
we could have gotten it. Both guys wanted it, but we didn't get it. We didn't need it, which is nice in terms of like fights and getting big fights in the books. But we could have gotten it last year, but the reason we didn't is the cake, the paper, the cheddar.
John Jones's first fight at a heavyweight, I don't think needs the heavyweight title to be involved. Jose, do you agree, disagree? What do you think? Oh, I think we lost Jose's audio for a second. Okay, he's probably talking to someone. What do you guys? Yeah, it's fine. Yeah, what do you guys think? Does obviously John Jones versus again Ngannou or Miocic or even Derek Lewis, I think draws massive money, and I don't think again, like we said, what if Ngannou, if he doesn't defeat Miocic, and if for some reason Miocic can't fight, I assume that Ngannou Jones would still be on the table, like you said, it might could have happened already. It doesn't need. His debut doesn't need a title, right? He shouldn't wait. He shouldn't wait for whoever the champion is to be ready, right?
The longer he stays out, then we have a ring rust issue, and we saw when he fought, probably John's worst performance, even though he still won a dominant decision, was I think we would say probably the OSP fight. After being out for I think over a year and a half, and he just looked sluggish. Remember that fight? It was just if you watch John Jones highlight reels, you'll never see a highlight from the OSP fight. Pretty much in that thing,
he clearly won.
But it was
not inspiring. Not inspiring.
Yeah. So that's the only thing I worry about John. The longer he stays out of the cage, then he's just not. He might. And I personally think, because I know no one wants to take that risk, but I would love to see John fight someone a mediocre heavyweight, just because I'm one of those guys. I don't think John's gonna be better at heavyweight. I just think that he has a light heavyweight frame, and when he's gonna put that much weight on, he's just gonna be slower, and I don't think that's a good thing. And but he's going for. I don't know. John wants to go for it, so it's on him. But what was the question? I don't even know.
Well, I'll
does,
kind of
does this fight need a title?
I don't think
Yeah.
so. I don't think so. Yeah.
I'll kind of rephrase it for Mike slightly. Mike, not what do you think will do bigger business? What interests you more? John Jones versus Ngannou coming off a loss potentially, or John Jones versus Derek Lewis coming off of a win?
I don't know. That's interesting. Probably Ngannou is probably the more interesting one because dude, both guys possess ridiculous power. Like ridiculous power. Second round Derek Lewis is an anomaly. He's a unicorn. He's like fifth round Robbie Lawler. Second round Derek Lewis is a bad man. No matter what happens in those first 5 minutes, whether he's winning the round or losing the round badly, whether he gets 10-8'd, second round Derek Lewis is a monster. That dude just becomes a different animal. Maybe he just needs those 5 minutes to get loose. Ngannou, obviously, just because of how big and how menacing he is and the one-punch knockouts and the 20-second finishes, clearly he's the answer to this question as like the more intriguing matchup, the one that does the more dollars. But Derek Lewis would be fun. I mean, the build to that fight would be great. Seeing more Derek Lewis, that'd be great. Like, what's wrong with that? The Instagram games, the social media games would be on point, be tremendous.
I can't even imagine all the stuff we know about like sort of John Jones's personal life and outside of the cage follies, what Derek Lewis would say. And I think he'd be respectful, but I do think he'd have a lot to work with. I think the Derek Lewis comedy hour would have a lot to work with.
That's the fight I want to see. Actually, I want to see John. I wish John Jones, Derek Lewis was like the first fight to happen in John Jones's heavyweight venture.
More than Ngannou.
More than Ngannou. Because I wish this was almost a tournament in a sense, with Stipe and Ngannou on this side, and then Jones and Lewis on this side, and then the winners face each other. Just because I think every potential outcome is awesome. You could have Stipe versus Derek Lewis, which you haven't seen yet. You could have John Jones versus either Miocic or Ngannou, which you haven't seen yet. You could have a potential rematch between Lewis and Ngannou. So I don't know. That's why I want to see. I know I ain't gonna get it, but
I know, because the UFC is not cool. Look, and people can make fun. Look, people can make fun of Bellator's Grand Prix all they want, and going like, these Grand Prix take they take forever. Someone gets injured, it throws up the whole bracket. I'm like, injuries throw off matchmaking in general. That has nothing to do with. Yeah, it has nothing to do with. But people will say like, like as soon as a Grand Prix is booked, they make a joke like, yes, we won't see the finals till 2024 or something. And I'm like, at least it's cool and fun to talk about the potential matchups. Like, what is the harm in looking for? And it would be cool if the UFC, you're right, had set it up that way. That it was like, here's the 4 names, just to see it on paper, right? Just see those 4 names on paper and the possibility. You're right, and then fans can speculate, gives us stuff, creates clickbait articles for us to work on. Of course, which is our favorite thing. But yeah, I do wish that the UFC was just a little more, loose with kind of like teasing these potential matches. But I get it. They're a business. They don't necessarily gain anything from doing that. Mike?
How can you have a bad thing to say about those Grand Prix? We get a title fight in every single round.
Yeah.
and think about this. We're getting Anthony Johnson versus Yoel Romero in a Grand Prix match in the first freaking round. Like the rest of the tournament, it's just fights. Honestly, in the title, there's going to be $1 million and a champion at the end of it. But we're getting Rumble versus Yoel Romero in the first round. That's. How can you complain about that? This is tremendous stuff.
The UFC couldn't make that happen, and it's happening in Bellator. Like Bellator is making fights we want to see. I mean, good.
Don't read the MMA fighting comment section. That's all I'm saying. They'll find a way. They'll find a way to dig on anything. Love you guys in the MMA fighting comment section. Jose, you are back. What is the vibe? What's the vibe down there on the street?
Oh, I've just been listening to your guys chitter chatter and
that's nice. We are still waiting for 2 more names. Sucking down coffee. Fabio Sharon and Sharon, and Jared Gooden. Not to be confused with Jared Gordon or famous baseball player Dwight Gooden, which was confusing to me because he was booked to fight Dwight Grant once, so there was like a Gooden Grant matchup. Anyway, you guys don't care about that crap. Let's get another.
You're right. This is Jared Gooden. I totally was expecting Jared Gordon the whole time.
This is not. There is no relation between Jared Gordon and Jared Gooden. This is Jared Gooden, completely different human being.
I was like, dude, Gordon kind of 70. I was like, okay.
Casey, I mean, he had trouble making weight last time. So.
Yeah, I mean, no, that's what I thought. Yeah, sorry.
I see question.
45.
Yeah.
Hey, 170 would be really fun to make.
We're in a pandemic, bro. Come on.
I know. Why even bother? Casey, what do we got question wise? I see some people. Thank you guys in the YouTube comments. I'm sorry that we can't get to every question, but I do see some popping up. Much appreciate all the commenters on YouTube. Well, we should talk about this because we have to explain the situation, don't we?
Yeah, go for it.
Yes.
Who wants to be the bearer of bad news? Mike, go ahead.
I wouldn't say it's like bad news yet, but it's not great news yet. The fight's not done. It's not done. I know Toporia's side is in. They're posting about it. We've spoken with sources. Ryan Hall has not put pen to paper yet on this fight. That's all. That's what I'll say. I will leave it at that. It's not done.
And it's always a weird question to say, are you excited for Ryan Hall fight? Because Jose, was that for us?
No, just talking out loud about this fight not being done and Ryan Hall being involved, and I said shocking.
Fair enough. That is fair, given Ryan Hall's track record of inactivity. To let's call it that. But yeah, you don't really get excited for a Ryan Hall fight because that's like saying, do you get excited to see like a cow being slaughtered?
Nope.
No, I was gonna say a cow being slaughtered because there's another human being at the other end of that Ryan Hall performance. You have to understand that. So of course, while we love to see Ryan Hall fight, Ilya to see a young prospect like Ilya Topuria, to see their career ended like this is horrible. I don't want to see that. So I don't know, excited, certainly intrigued. We always want to see Ryan Hall fight, but I mean, RIP Topuria if this fight does end up going through because it's friggin' Ryan Hall,
Man, but
the matchup's interesting. It's a really interesting fight.
It really is. It's a really
interesting fight. I know it's all sides are know about the matchup. They're all aware of it. This is the direction the UFC wants to go, but Ryan Hall has not signed yet. There are extenuating circumstances that he needs to overcome first.
What happened to what's going on with the camo shorts guy? What's his name?
Bryce Mitchell.
Yeah, what happened to him?
Yeah, don't know.
He's trying to prove the Earth. He's trying to prove the Earth is flat.
I didn't want to go there, but
he's going on rants and trying to prove the Earth is flat. Move like that.
I did see those posts about him claiming the Mars landing with the NASA stuff. All that's fake, and let's talk about Bryce Mitchell when he's inside an enclosed fence.
Yeah,
let's focus on that. Yeah.
Yes, if you watched LFA recently, he was cornering his cousin, AJ Cunningham. So that's where he's been. Getting him.
I'm just surprised after that big win. I'm surprised we didn't get a good turnaround. So at least Reebok can use those camo shorts one more time before we switch over to Venom.
He was dinged up, didn't he? He got dinged up in that fight, didn't he?
I think it was a while back.
Didn't he say he hurt his hands or something? Yeah. So he's probably just recovering and dealing with that. It was October. It wasn't that long.
It was October 31st.
November. Yeah. Okay, I guess you're right.
It's only been 5 months.
Yeah, only 5 months. That's 5 months. It's half a year almost. By the time he fights again, it'll be every time a guy
it was 6 months between fights the last time, or 5. No, it was 5 months the last time.
Is he one of those fighters that says I only want to fight twice a year? Because 99% of fighters are I want to fight 4 or 5 times this year, and of course they get 2 fights. Is he a guy that that doesn't want to fight a lot, or is it just I don't recall.
No. He was. I know he had some injuries in that fight with Andre Fili, and then now he's a top 15 guy. So the matchups are not going to be easy. So there's no need to rush back. I know he's got a new contract. He's making more money now. He's got sponsors and all that stuff. He's doing well financially, better than he was a year or 2 ago. He's got a farm. He's got lots of things going on. So the matchups are not going to get easier. Might as well try to get as healthy as you can before you get in there and start mixing it up with these animals at 145.
They made camo shorts. They're going to use them once? Jeez. Reebok, I don't know how you guys stay in business.
Maybe Venom can hook him up too. I don't know.
Venom camos. Yeah.
Come on, Venom.
Camos.
If Venom's on top of things, they have those camo shorts made for Bryce Mitchell already. Okay, so come on, Venom, put your best foot forward.
How long was that Reebok deal? Is it 7 years?
7.
So
did it get extended? I thought it got extended in there somewhere. It was at least 7 years.
The first fight on the Reebok deal was UFC 189. That's when they unveiled it.
Yeah.
What year was that? What year was that? What year was that?
2015, I want to say.
Oh, so about 5 years, a little over 5 years.
2015, 2014. I'm not 100%.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
That
So 5 or 6 years, something like that.
Was the Kane Verdun fight was the last pay-per-view with where you could wear whatever you wanted in Mexico City. That was
we got
one of the
movement.
C-level Kane memes. Yep.
C-level Kane, and then of course all the Reebok errors, which we'll never forget.
So in that
Kane
entire
and
Reebok,
GSP have only fought. Go ahead.
oh yeah, in that entire Reebok era, Reebok made only one pair of custom outfit. One pair, one fighter.
Didn't they let Cowboy sew something on to his shorts?
An American flag.
No, was it?
Yeah, it's a military tribute that Cerrone has. That's it, or it's some piece that represents something for the military. I'm not sure if it's literally a flag, but it's something like that. That was it, and even that was like a big deal. I remember, like for Reebok to let happen.
Yeah, there were stories. We definitely wrote stories about it. It was definitely that big a deal. But
At least they don't have those
Wasn't
fight
there-
kids they all have anymore.
Wasn't there a fighter who had like a sticker on his chest?
We're moving. Yeah, that was wasn't that Jose Aldo?
No, he had the patch.
That's
Yeah,
right.
But that was for a military thing. It wasn't a spot. Yeah, it was like some.
Right,
Our
but
next
still,
fighter
it's still
in the
different.
scale in the
Okay.
UFC's light heavyweight division, set to make his UFC debut here tomorrow night, Fabio Charant.
Fabio Charant, here we go. This is it was not an easy cut for him.
The Water Buffalo.
Is that his nickname, really?
Yep.
I like that nickname.
He's not looking thrilled.
Yeah, he's a water buffalo. Have you ever seen a happy water buffalo?
Good point.
Ooh, I don't feel good.
206. 206.
209. 209.
206 and
He's
3/4 for Fabio.
That's take
Oh,
the
that's
pants off.
tough. 206.75. Again, this is Fabio Charant coming on a short notice.
Is he not gonna do it? What? Really? Okay.
He doesn't have a lot of
Well, I
time,
mean-
but you can get another hour. But should he? I don't know. It might not be healthy for him to.
Oh no,
He doesn't look. Could get the hoop.
Oh, they're bringing out the. What do we call this? The box of shame.
The box of shame. Yeah.
The box of shame.
Wait, I need box of shame music. Oh, box of shame is going back. What's going on?
He might just. I don't know.
Oh, do they need? Oh, okay. I'm playing the
He
box
needs-
of
Oh,
shame.
okay.
He needs some
And
help.
here comes the box of shame.
Playing box of shame music. Here it comes.
Right. You gotta have people. Ooh.
Yeah.
Oh,
Now again,
come on.
and look again.
What if he
I
makes
say
it?
Oh no,
I-
he'll
I
make
don't think
it. He'll make weight. I think he'll make weight.
Yeah, that's true. But you know,
no,
once
point-
it should be noted that the box. Oh, here he comes. So he is ready.
Or maybe it's I don't know. Maybe it's a Vegas magic show. I'm not sure. He'll make it. I believe it.
Hands up. No touching the box.
It's a sliding scale. You
0.2. I think it'll be 206.25.
can't even read quarters on those things. Like that. Like
Just said 0.75.
he made that up.
206 and a half for Fabio Charant.
206
who will have
and a
an
half.
additional hour to cut the fight
He will get an
He gets an
additional hour
hour.
to cut.
Yeah.
Yes.
if the
Okay.
dog
I
is
will
allowed.
make note. I will let our people on social media know.
Man.
Charant. But we don't. So unfortunately, Casey, hold on to that music button.
Yeah, I
Hold on to that music button. We cannot say this fight is official yet. I got going on. Oh yeah, that's the better. Yeah, that's the music. Yeah.
It's here.
Yeah.
Here comes, I believe we have the night train. Is that
Yes, Jared Night Train. Night is it Night Train? One word. I don't
And
know.
our final fighter to weigh in this
NITE
morning in the UFC's
train.
welterweight division, Jared Gooden.
And now Jared Gooden, our last guy to step to the scales. Okay.
$171.
Oh, no. 3/4 for Jared Gooden.
Oh no, 171.75. So another fighter 3/4 over. I believe he's nodding over. No?
Here it comes.
Oh yes, there it is. Casey.
Oh,
That's the Box of Shames music.
oh, Box of Shame music. Crap.
Oh my gosh, it's the Box of Shames music.
Here we go.
We did like actual music though.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Like just dramatic music, not.
Okay,
We
you're
don't
right.
want
You're
to
right.
actually shame them.
Yeah. Here we go.
They're not
Wait,
being
wait.
shamed.
He's
The
making
box-
white.
There we go.
That's it.
$171.5 for Jared Gooden, who will also have 1 hour to cut that final half pound if he is cleared to do so by medical personnel.
We got nodding. Maybe that's a sign that he is clear to cut that last 0.5.
Oh, this is awkward. That was 171.5, right, guys?
Yep.
Yep.
So what-
Okay.
So what does that
interesting.
mean? What does that mean, AK?
It means that fight is not official. Yeah.
What a bummer
Well-
way to end the weigh-ins.
I was gonna say, well, Mike, I guess we got to go to the recap for now, even though technically we're not really done. We are awaiting a second attempt from Fabio Sherrant and Jared Gooden. But Mike, do what you can, man. Do what you can, and let the people know what's up.
All right. Main event for the UFC Heavyweight Championship of the World. Stipe Miocic weighing in at 234 pounds, 12 pounds less than he weighed at UFC 220. Takes on Francis Ngannou, the challenger, who weighed in at 263. Tyron Woodley, 171. The co-main event is official against Vicente Luque, who weighed in at 170.5. Thomas Almeida weighed in at 136. He will face Sugar Sean O'Malley, who also weighed in at 136. Gillian Robertson, the first of the scale, weighed in at 125.5. She takes on Miranda Maverick, who weighed in at 126. Jamie Mullarkey, Khama Worthy, they will kick off the main card. Both of those gentlemen weighed in at 155.5. Alonzo Menifield weighed in at 205 on the nose. Fabio Sherrant missed weight by 0.5 pound. He will have an hour to cut that last half pound, so we'll see what happens there. Jared Gooden, the last man to the scale, he also missed weight by 0.5 pound. He'll have an hour. Abubakar Nurmagomedov weighed in at 170.5. Modestas Bukauskas weighed in at 205.5. Takes on Michal. Oleksiejczuk, who weighed in at 206. Shane Young at 145.5 takes on Omar Morales, who weighed in at 146. And the curtain jerker, Azaitar, weighed in at 185.5 takes on Marc-Andre Barriault, who weighed in at 185. Back to you, A to the Kizzle.
Oh, I thought there was gonna be more music. Okay.
What?
Well, I'll clap for that. I'll for some real clapping. Thank you, Mike. Interesting. So we only had 20 fighters weigh in today, and unfortunately, somehow we still had 2 misses. So I thought having less fights would that would go a little bit more smoothly. But again, I want to remind people we don't like to make excuses, of course, for fighters missing weight. They should make weight. But Fabio Sherrant did accept his fight on what I believe is either no more than 3 days' notice. Yes, if you accept a fight, you should know if you can make the weight. But I'd say let's.
No, you shouldn't. You just say
Let's
yes
keep that-
and take the fight. That's how it works.
No,
and then
no,
you
you know
worry
what you
about it
should do?
later.
You know what you should do is friggin' negotiate a catch weight. We still don't know why fighters like if you take a fight on 3 days' notice. I mean, the UFC should say, hey, okay, you guys are now
210.
fighting at 170.
Or,
Yeah, exactly, 210.
Yeah,
or whatever. Yeah,
whatever,
you're right. Yeah,
whatever
210. You're right. Yeah. So the UFC should suggest that. If they don't, the manager should both be the ones to step forward and suggest that. And if they don't, then the fighters themselves should say, "Hey guys, maybe we don't need to cut that extra 5 pounds, right?" So yeah, I don't want to be too critical of guys who miss it. They're professionals; they should make it. But
the scale's gone. They're taking the scale, so we're officially done with weigh-ins.
The scale,
even though they have 5 minutes left, because they can weigh in still in the 5 minutes without a doctor or anything.
Can they weigh in away from the scale? Jose, what's your read on the situation? Does that mean that's it?
I'll try to get word once I wrap up some videos we're doing for the site.
Okay. Thanks, Jose. So yeah, we'll have an update on that as soon as possible. For now, I imagine they're probably still going to go through with the face-offs at the top of the hour, Casey? Probably, right? I'm seeing a graphic over our faces right now.
I was trying to show the Ngannou Stipe way.
I thought you were playing me off. I thought you were like, this is a subtle clue. Wrap it up, Lee. Wrap it up, Dolores. Oh, anyone tuning in
by showing the timeline of the main event of the last pay-per-view.
Anyone who just tuned in for the last half an hour just did not understand that Dolores reference at all, but that's okay. They'll get it I'm sure everyone will go back and
hold on.
the whole thing.
I'm going to bring up the replay of Francis and Miocic weighing in. So one moment.
Please do.
The anticipation.
All right, here we go.
There he is, the challenger, looking completely out of shape here. Joking, obviously. That's a bad mamma jamma.
So we're watching a replay of the challenger weighing in.
263 for the challenger, Francis Ngannou.
All right, I'm gonna let's see how the champ looked.
Just looking shredded.
There he is, the champ, maybe the greatest heavyweight in MMA history. Stipe coming in.
The official weight for the champion, Stipe Miocic.
Coming in at a svelte 234. And there we go. Now, as we said, they have removed the scale, so it does look like they're probably at the very. I don't know what that means for our two fighters who missed weight, Jared Gooden and Fabio Cherant, but very likely they're also just clearing space for the face-offs, which are probably still taking place shortly.
Some of the media is speculating that in the past they've brought the scale back out after the stare downs.
Oh, okay.
Yes.
Yeah, that makes sense. I think I would assume both guys are, because half pound hour. I'm sure it's tough. I'm not guaranteeing that they can make it, but I'm sure both guys are at least gonna. It sounds like both guys are gonna make a run at it. So, Casey, just stay tuned, man. Stay tuned. To our viewers, stay tuned.
We're staying here.
I'm actually hearing UFC, something like one of the UFC fighter handlers, breaking down the rules of weigh-ins in the back right now. So they should be starting pretty soon.
Yeah.
Okay.
Weigh-in. So just hang on. So does anyone need to get out?
Probably. I do need to write up this recap. I do need this thrilling recap of the weigh-ins that just. So I need to peace out for now.
All right.
And you guys.
There we go. We'll switch.
Can you go, Casey? Can you go on without me?
That is not an issue.
Hey.
Well, you don't have to answer so affirmatively. Oh, well, okay. Well, Casey now coming in from Toronto, Ontario. Thanks, guys. I hope you enjoyed this morning's. Can I at least sign off properly? I hope you guys enjoyed this morning's weigh-in show. Give an extra special thanks, people, to Jose Youngs, who is on site as always with these big shows, bringing you this footage and handling all the technical difficulties and giving us all the live updates. So thank you, Jose. Thanks, Mike and Casey. And again, sticking around, so I don't really need to say anymore, do I?
Good job, AK.
Thank you.
Happy birthday,
I was
buddy.
waiting for that. Now, well, I was not waiting for that. It's not my birthday. Stop it. It's not my birthday.
All right. Well,
All right, guys. I'm hanging up. I'm about my screen. Switch me off, Casey. My screen's about to go black.
Okay, wait, hold on. But AK, before you leave, I have something very important to ask you. Whatever.
He knew.
And we
He was ready
lost him.
for it.
And we lost him. All right, so
He was ready for it. Hey, so for those watching right now, maybe you didn't see. I know this isn't the biggest news on earth, but we confirmed MMA fighting Damon Martin and the Brazilian beast Guilherme Cruz. Fun middleweight fight going down July 10th. Omar Akhmedov versus Brad Tavares. July 10th.
all right.
There we go. I like it. Good matchmaking right there.
It's a fight. It's a fight.
It's good. Top. I think they're both in the top 15. I like it.
Tavares, he's coming off a win, right? He's coming off a win. Yeah, I remember. All right, well, so we are just waiting for stare down, so it should be happening any moment.
Whenever Uncle Dana shows up.
Okay, I guess we'll go to look at some questions.
Oh, all right. Yeah, if we got him, let's rock.
Oh, what did you say? I didn't realize that. You said Stipe came in how many pounds lighter than the original matchup?
12.
12 pounds lighter.
He was 246 at UFC 220.
What did Ngannou weigh? Do you have that?
I will have him momentarily. I can't see it being much of a difference.
Is Ngannou always weigh in the 260s?
I think so.
Okay.
I mean, that's a massive dude.
That's a solid 260.
He was 260. He was 263.
Oh, and he what 260? What was he for this one? Sorry.
263.
Oh wow, same
weight.
exact. Okay, wow. Okay, man's consistent.
Yes, he is. He was 253 for Derek Lewis. 254, 258.
He was
255 and a half.
You know what's interesting? So he was
Jairzinho, 261 and a half.
So around the same, but the Lewis fight's really interesting. So he was significantly lighter for the Lewis fight, and that was the fight. That was the fight following his first loss to Stipe. So I wonder if he thought he was just. I guess after that fight, they thought, oh, you're just too heavy. You have too much muscle. We have to get you lighter. But then, that didn't work out.
Yeah, I mean, he was. I think that's the lightest he's weighed in the UFC. Yeah, he's in the 250s a lot early on. No, he's 252 for the first Curtis Blades fight. Yeah, that was the lightest he'd ever been.
Okay.
2016. So, yeah.
I mean, we were talking about, Stipe the GOAT. A lot of people consider him the GOAT, all this stuff. If Francis wins, though, like, what does Francis need to do to become, like, because I think we potentially have two possible GOATs on that fighting in that cage tomorrow. Because I'm picking Francis to win. I think Francis is that good. I have a bit of a blind faith that he's gotten better at certain things, which I think we kind of all have to. If you're picking Francis, I think you're kind of taking that leap of faith a little bit because we just don't know. No one's been able to take him down, so we don't really see how it's working out. What is this? Sorry.
I like how he's got a home now. Like, he's at Extreme Couture. Yeah. He's in Vegas. Comfortable. He's happy. Eric Nixick has been great for him, obviously, because look at the run he's been on. He's in a different place than he was. I mean, We'll see. We'll see what happens. Second, third rounds, if it gets that far, I'm really interested to see how that plays out. I mean, that's the big question in this fight. Like, if this gets if Stipe can weather the storm yet again, because let's not forget, in that first fight, you were in the back with me, Casey, watching that first fight. It was, I mean, no one said a word through that whole first 5 minutes. We were all like just waiting.
I actually, it's
crazy.
I was rewatching our post show we did with Ariel Helwani for that fight, and we're just talking about that first round because like the last 2 rounds of that fight were just I don't want to say garbage, but they were kind of garbage to watch, you know. But as far as like, oh, these are supposed to be the best heavyweights, look just like two tired guys in there. But the first, you know, two rounds of that fight were extremely like super tense, and I think that's especially that first 3 minutes. That first 3 minutes of that fight makes the rematch so much more exciting. You know, you just don't know what's going to happen because, yeah, it's just Stipe he took a beating that first 3 minutes, but he survived. And are we going to see a more mature, more higher fight IQ Francis this match? Because I think that's really we're deciding on. If Francis fights smarter and more strategically, and doesn't just blow the whole gas tank in the first 2 minutes, you know, it's a different fight. So, and Stipe seems to be the guy who has enough striking, he's enough of a well-rounded fighter to withstand that flurry. Because yeah, he has gone against guys like Curtis Blades, Kane, super high-level wrestlers, but maybe not the best, especially that version of Kane, maybe not the best mixed martial artist. But no, like Blades' striking wasn't dangerous enough to make his wrestling a factor in the fight. But I do think Miocic's striking is good enough to make Miocic's wrestling definitely a giant advantage for Stipe.
I wonder if we're gonna see like a lot of leg kicks from Stipe, like especially like we've seen the calf kick just become such a big weapon in MMA. I wonder if Stipe is going to go to that well in this fight and try to, and I know it's a dangerous thing because if Ngannou times one of those and lands that overhand right or lands anything, you know, Stipe could be in trouble. But if Stipe being 12 pounds lighter, and you saw it in the DC fights, the quickness, I mean, he's definitely the quicker fighter. He's definitely got the quicker hands, but Ngannou just has that life-changing power. So if Ngannou, if Stipe can go to the body, go to the legs, and start scoring with calf kicks early on, man, this could be an interesting fight. So I honestly, like, I don't know what his game plan is going to be. I have no idea how this fight's going to go. And that's what's great about this card. The main, the co-main are two fights that I literally have no freaking idea what's going to happen. Like, I don't even have a read on it. Like, my gut right now is telling me that Stipe is going to win, get a decision. But I feel differently than 220. Like 220 for me is like if France doesn't put him on the first round, Stipe is going to cruise. I don't know if I have that same feeling here this time around. If it gets to 4 and 5, I think the confidence on the Stipe side certainly grows. I mean, it's obvious, but I feel like, I don't know. I feel like Francis is more dangerous outside of the first 5 minutes this time than he was in the first fight.
Yeah, that's what I said. I mean, I believe that. I think we're all just taking kind of a leap of faith that Francis and his coaches, because he's with very experienced, very smart coaches, and I think coaches that have, I mean, because like that fight with Lewis, people need to remember too. That was, he actually went to he worked with John Wood at what gym? Syndicate, which is a great gym itself, but just the relationship didn't work out. You know, and he left that camp and he went to Extreme Couture, and ever since then it seems to be just A+. So man, yeah, just God, yeah, it's weird to think that this fight could have been in front of fans, you know, if things would have worked out, or they could have just changed the schedule just a bit. But here we go. Oh, no Dana. Wow. All right. Jose, I'm not getting any audio. Jose, hold on. But we can hear you, Mike. So
that is going to then go try to
Maynard?
cut the final half pound, I should say, and he will be here in a moment. Here's Jared Gooden.
Gooden versus Nurmagomedov. Gooden still has to cut that half pound.
All right, now we'll reset it back to the top of the fight card. This bout, middleweight division, live on UFC Fight Pass and ESPN. Marc-Andre Barriault versus Azaitar.
The return of Azaitar against Marc-Andre Barriault. Both guys need a win here, especially the Canadian. They're saying very pleasant things to each other, I'm sure. Let's meet for tea after this. Get on a Zoom chat.
Good intensity there. We will now move on to a batch of 3 prelims. You can see live on ESPN. First up in the featherweight division, Smoking Shane Young versus Omar, Venezuelan fighter Morales.
Should be a good one, folks. Kicking off the ESPN preliminary portion of tomorrow night's festivities. Shane Young, Omar Morales. Omar looking to bounce back after the first loss of his career against Giga Chikadze.
All right, next up in the UFC's light heavyweight division, Modestas Bukauskas versus Michal Oleksiejczuk.
This is my my deep cut fight, folks. 205 pounders. I don't see this one going to the judges. I know that's a jinx.
In the UFC's light heavyweight division, Atomic Alonzo Menifield versus Fabio Water Buffalo Charette.
One of the better nicknames in the sport.
That's right. Charette replacing fellow New Englander William Knight.
Alonzo Menifield, Fabio Charette in our featured prelim live on ESPN tomorrow night.
Charrette's been waiting for this.
The main card for UFC 260 live on ESPN Plus pay-per-view. First out of the shoot in the lightweight division, Jamie Mullarkey versus Khama, the Death Star Worthy.
A what the heck favorite, Khama Worthy. Against Jamie Mullarkey, this should be a fun one.
I appreciate the fighters doing the face forward pose.
Yes.
It's always good. Always good.
All right, next, UFC Women's Flyweight Division, Gillian the Savage Robertson versus Miranda Fear the Maverick.
Miranda Maverick's nickname is just terrific. 2 excellent nicknames here. Gillian's like, let's get the hell out of here.
Featured bout in the UFC's bantamweight division, Sugar Sean O'Malley versus Thomas Almeida.
Miranda gets it. You know, you gotta show them guns off. Come on.
There you go. Thomas Almeida versus Sean O'Malley. O'Malley, the biggest favorite on the card tomorrow. Like
I'm excited about this fight. Really yeah, me too. Yeah, I didn't really think about this fight too much. Talking about now, but I'm like, heck yeah.
Top 10, the former undisputed champion and the chosen one, Tyron Woodley versus Vicente, the silent assassin, Luque.
I think I needed to see that look on Almeida's face.
Yeah,
you know what I mean. That was like a switch for me. Big fight for both of these gentlemen. Tyron Woodley, Vicente Luque, the co-main event. Woodley needs this one. Luque, if he wants to take that next step, he needs this one.
Yep.
And
really fast.
UFC 260 for the sport's ultimate prize, the UFC Heavyweight Championship, the incumbent Stipe Miocic in defense against the #1 contender, Francis Ngannou.
Woo! Heck yeah.
It's nothing like the heavyweight championship of the world, Casey Leiden.
Look at they even fit in the frame. Jose's got to zoom out in these gentlemen.
No semantics, no tomfoolery. All respect. Bad men.
Match is official, folks. One more sleep. We will see you
after you, sir.
Ah,
I thought
we didn't get a cool
No
flex.
face
No
forward.
flex off. Ah, bummer.
Oh wow! Every other fight did it. Even the first fight. Even the curtain jerker.
Do like a. Yeah, they're,
so
I heard someone complain too there too. Hey, they didn't face forward.
Everyone's saying it.
So Jose, what are we waiting for now? We have.
I believe we're waiting. We're gonna have guest fighters, Aljamain Sterling, and it's Daniel Cormier do a little scrum.
All right, cool. So waiting for.
And then we have 2 fighters still looking to make weight. So I don't know if they're going to bring the scale out first. I don't know how this is going to work, but we'll find out soon enough. But there you go. I'm going to roll because I have to go pick my kid up at school.
All right.
So
you think I'm gonna
enjoy enjoy the Cormier and Aljamain Sterling scrums. I'm sure the Sterling one will be really interesting since he is the bantamweight champion, the first UFC champion to win the title via disqualification. He's been in the news quite a bit. He's been a big story this year. And, of course, DC is DC. Always has good insight to these matchups, especially since he's fought Stipe 3 times. So nobody knows Stipe more than Daniel Cormier does. So until then, enjoy that. We'll see you later on in the preview show. Godspeed. Enjoy all the other festivities.
And while we wait, I will play some soothing music.
Misha Tate is here, guys. Misha Tate's doing a little spot.
Oh, there we go. I see it.
Welcome back. Obviously, it's great to see you as an active UFC fighter again. We were all surprised by the news. Obviously, it was made official very recently. But in your mind, when was the decision made that yes, this is the step we're taking?
After I had my son, so that was in June. I just kind of knew, like, the pandemic had hit and kind of really brought everything home, right? Put everything in perspective, like what's really important. And time is very valuable. And I'm like, look, you know what? I just feel it in my heart. I want to do this. I'm in a great position in my life. I don't have to do this. They call me, like nobody's, nobody's twisting my arm. Like, this is 100% because I'm in the best place I've ever been and because I want to do this.
It was interesting at the press conference yesterday. We were talking about like retired fighters and this and that. And he said, sometimes fighters come back for money, and that's a bad reason to come back. What is the motivation? I mean, I'm sure the money's not bad. A big paycheck won't hurt, but what is the motivation?
No, I literally had to hunt Dana down. He blew off like my first 5 Instagram messages. It was actually starting to really piss me off. I was like, Dana, I swear I will come. Like, do I not have the right number? I was like, what is going on? I was like, tell him I want to come back. But I think he was worried, I guess, probably that maybe I was in a desperate place and I needed to come back, so I think he wanted to know it was for the right reasons. And like, finally I was like, sat down with him and had that face-to-face conversation. He's like, so what are you doing here? What? Like, I want to fucking fight. I was like, that's what I'm doing here. And he's like, all right. It's kind of still like, you're not hurting for money. I was like, no, I'm not. I'm actually making really good money right now, with one championship. And this is because I want to do that. I want to come back and fight. I'm not sure if I answered your question. What was it? Okay.
You did, yeah. And I mean, was it a decision you had toyed with? Because I know I saw your interview the other day on your show where you were talking about, hey, so much in life had changed that this felt like the right spot. But in the interim in between, had this been a decision you wrestled with at all, or did it just become now's the time?
I just didn't give it any I didn't feed into it, if I ever thought about it. Obviously, it was always the question I was being asked. So it was kind of like, if I know, I'll know. Like, there's never like, I don't need to like wonder. I'm just that way. It's like people say that when you fall in love, like, like it's the same thing with the sport for me. It's like, I have fallen in love with the sport again. And I just know, like, now is the time. I think the sport's been calling me for a while. And I just feel like now's the time that I want to come back and time to answer the call.
And what are the total aspirations? I mean, I think you said you've got 6 fights left on your current deal. I mean, do you want to fight out those 6 fights? I mean, are you thinking I can re-enter this sport at a championship level? I know your first fight, will will be kind of an entry point. But do you feel like I'm making a title run out of this?
Yes, absolutely. I'm not here for anything less than gold. You know, I want to be the best in the world. I'd love to say that I'm doing this because I'm a mom and I want to inspire my kids and all this. And that's like cherry on the top. You know, I do. I want my daughter to see, you know, what strong women can do. I want my son to also see and appreciate strong women. I want to be that role model for my kids, but it's not the reason I'm doing this. I'm doing this for me. You know, I took 4.5 years off. I've got to sit back. I've watched this sport evolve. I've watched these amazing women, you know, Joanna and Weili, like one of the best fights I've ever seen in my life. They've done such spectacular work, but I want to come back and add some spice to this division, and I want to be the greatest again. I want to be the best.
That's amazing. Last thing for me, I mean, how long do you see this run lasting? I mean, you mentioned the 6 fights, title aspirations. I mean, if you come back and win the title, would that be enough to say, hey, you know, I did it, I got back there? Or do you feel like, no, hell no, I want to defend this thing and, you know, run off 10, 15 fights? I mean, where do you see this whole thing going?
You know, it's definitely difficult to know for sure what the future holds. And I know I've got to start on July 17th with Miranda. That's what I know. I was like, that's where I have to have my goal set. You know, Marion is somebody who can spoil your night if you take her lightly. And I can't do that. I cannot be, you know, I can't pull a Sarah McMahon. And I've got to come out there, and I think I've got to have a very impressive performance. So I'm excited to do that. And when you talk about short term, midterm, long term, I'm always somebody who, you know, I'm certainly, you know, I'm looking a little bit into the future. I definitely want to give this 2 years. I want to become a champion, and I'm just going to kind of see where it goes from there. Again, I'm fly by the seat of my pants. I make decisions on the fly. I listen to my heart. I'm a passionate individual, and you know, so I know it's time to come back. I know I've got a lot of gas left in the gas tank. And I think the reason that I left the sport was not because, you know, I couldn't do it anymore. It's not because I was physically incapable. It was because I just had so many other things in my personal life. I was struggling with depression. I was having a really difficult time. And I just didn't have it to give anymore there. I didn't have the extra. And I knew that, and I was like, that's a very ugly place to be. So I needed to step away. I needed to cut ties with everything and start fresh. And that's where I'm at. You know, I'm back at Extreme Couture. I'm training, and my teammates are giving me wonderful feedback. They're like, shit, it's like you never left. You know, it's like, this is pretty cool. So I feel good, and I have a much better support system going in this time around than I did like my entire career. And look, I think, you know, what I was able to do under those circumstances just really leads me to really believe in myself, like what I can do under the right circumstances.
Hi, Michal. How do you think your division has changed since you last fought?
How has it changed? Well, there's more ladies, but obviously Amanda has done a pretty damn good job of clearing out most contenders. So I think a lot of times people are like, oh, who next? You know, the obvious answer is Juliana Penne, right? She's got to be next. She has a similar fight style to myself in that, you know, we make fights messy. We like to get them to the ground at some point. And I think somebody who can put Amanda on her back is the most compelling matchup, because we see what happens when women just try to strike with her, right? It doesn't really work out very well. But as far as the division otherwise, it's, I think, in a bit of a, you know, it's a little bit of a lull. It's a little bit of ebb and flow, right? So I'm just excited to come back and add some spice back into the division. There's just definitely still a lot of talented ladies, and I'm sure I'll be working my way through those, you know, starting July 17th.
Upon reflection, do you wish you'd taken Dana's advice to not get your nose fixed before the fighting career ended?
No, I've appreciated my nose being fixed for the past four years. So that's been wonderful. So if I break it again, I'll fix it again. It's simple as that. I plan on it. I'm pretty sure I will break it, because that's what you do in fighting, right? You get hit in the face, and that's okay with me. I've never shied away from it before. I'm not going to shy away from it now.
Hey, Misha, how are you? Good to see you.
Yeah, nice to see you too.
Do you actually still work for One? What is that situation?
Yeah, so One has been so supportive in this decision. I really appreciate that, because I mean, I suppose if they really wanted to, right, could put the kibosh on it, they probably could. But no, Chatri has been all about me. You know, he's an athlete first too. So basically, I put in my 30 days. I have 30 more days with One Championship, and I talked to the UFC too, and I said, look, this is the right thing to do. I wasn't expecting the news to break as fast as it did either. I literally talked to Mick Tuesday night, and Wednesday it was out, and I had no idea it was going to come out, you know, that quick. So I was like, look, the right thing to do is to put the 30 days in. So I'm doing that. I'm going to finish out those 30 days with one, and then I will be released of all obligations and entirely, ready to go with the UFC.
When you look at the division, obviously Amanda is still the champion. There's been some change. Are there some names, some faces that kind of intrigue you for matchups?
Yeah, I think Yana's been doing really good work. She's improved in so many areas. She's got a kind of funky striking style. She throws axe kicks, and she's improved tremendously on the ground too. Now I see her taking people down and dominating top position. She's top 5 ranked. Is actually a name that I was really I was interested in, but I think she already has a matchup, is what I was told. We did try to make that work, but it's Marion, so that's who I've got to focus on now.
Have you entered back into the USADA pool yet?
Yes.
You have?
Yes, I have. Yep.
And there's a rule that the UFC can waive. It says that a returning athlete has to be in the pool for 6 months before fighting again.
Right.
What's the situation there? Are they going to waive that for you?
They are. So we're 4 months out from the fight. I'm sure I'll get plenty of tests. I'm sure I'll have lots of 6 a.m., which is not as inconvenient these days because my kids wake up at 6 anyway. So I'll already be awake. I remember I used to hate that because I used to sleep so late, and all these things. Life is different these days, you guys. But, I think it's obvious that I didn't retire so I could go and take drugs and try to come back, right? I mean, that's why they don't want you to do that. I had kids. I was so serious about the retirement, and I'll take as many tests as they want. They could test me every single day starting yesterday, and I'm completely confident, that there's not going to be any problems. So we're back at it, and here we go.
Last question, very serious question. Who do you have between Ben Askren against Jake Paul? Who wins?
Oh yeah, very serious question. Look, I've been saying all along, I think Ben Askren. I know that's the probably the unpopular pick, but myself being a wrestler, look, we have different objectives when we go into MMA fights against people who we know are going to try to just strike. But when you just strike inside the gym, the striking is a lot better than what you're probably we will have ever got to see from Ben Askren in a fight, because he's always going to probably be looking to take the guy down, being such a phenomenal wrestler. I think the core strength a lot of times that wrestlers have, and he's going to be weird, right? He's going to be an actual athlete, a real serious guy who's, been in there and trained with a lot of the very best strikers. If you think he's not used to having really, really high level boxers and strikers throwing punches at him, think again. I mean, this man has made a career out of not getting hit. And I think he'll do that. And I bet you he's going to go into that, and he's probably going to clinch and wear on Jake at first. I mean, if I was a wrestler coming into that fight, right, I'd be looking at doing a little bit of the dirty boxing, and even just when you can pull on him for a little bit before the ref, right, separates you, right, he's going to pull him. Then he's probably going to look to open up and just throw heavy, heavy punches. And I don't know. I think Ben can get it done.
Thanks, Misha.
Yeah.
Misha over here. I was curious, we've seen a little bit sometimes when fighters are involved with different promotions. Did one ever try to get into a free agency battle to see if they could get you to fight for them? Did they ever talk with UFC about that?
No, I mean, of course, I think One Championship would have liked the opportunity, but, I was very clear from the beginning that I retired, in my contract, and that I still had 6 fights left. And that's kind of where we stood. We questioned maybe a grappling match at one point, and that never came to fruition. The UFC was like, no, if you're gonna grapple, it'll be for, it'll be on Fight Pass, and fair enough. The UFC's definitely been such an instrumental part in making me who I am, and the reason that anybody cares about watching me. So I get it, and that's okay. And there was never any kind of battle, no animosity, no bad blood. It was just, it is what it is.
People talk about the bantamweight division, and I'm sure you've heard this a lot. It's just not the same as when you and Miranda and everybody were kind of really running the show. I want to ask, do you feel like it's just been, for whatever reason, the talent seems to go to the other weight classes, or is it a little bit, Amanda Nunes world, and that's hurt creating another star at 135?
I think when you have a long reigning champion in any division, it starts to get a little bit dry. And that's not just just the women's 135. I mean, that's been historically, the thing with any long reigning champion. When you just start taking out every contender, people are kind of like, well, what now? We go to the number 9th ranked person, to fight or something. It's I don't think that's just a problem the women's division has. I think that's a problem that any division with a very dominant champion will run into. But no, I mean, if Juliana Pena she should be next. And if she doesn't get it done, then I will. At some point, got to stay focused, but of course, that's the end goal.
Thank you, Michal.
Okay. Thank you, guys.
We appreciate you going to those. Yeah, I mean, no matter the outcome for us, it's better maybe she didn't even hear that yesterday. Yeah. It would be funny if she never even heard that yesterday. You ever roll with John Martin?
Fighting presents Timeline, Miocic versus Ngannou 2. October 8th, 2011, UFC 136, Edgar versus Maynard 3, Houston, Texas. Stipe Miocic debuts in the UFC against Joey Beltran. Miocic wins by unanimous decision. After a quick knockout of the night performance in Nebraska over Philip DeFries, Miocic returns to face heavyweight prospect Shane Del Rosario.
And they offered you Shane Del Rosario. He's making his UFC debut coming over from Strikeforce. How much did you know about him when you got the call?
Oh, I knew he was. I knew he's a good fighter in Strikeforce, great fighter in Strikeforce. And, when I got the phone call, didn't hesitate and took that fight.
I asked him on Monday if he knew you, what his reaction was when he got the call. He said he didn't know you. He had to Google you to find out about you. Does that surprise you?
Yeah, I'm still a little guy, working my way up.
So it doesn't surprise you?
Oh no, I just give him a couple more. I'm not worried about big names. Keep fighting, keep getting better, and keep winning.
Miocic wins a TKO in the second round.
You're such a humble fighter. You're such a humble guy. How do you remain humble now? You're an undefeated UFC heavyweight. You've won 3-0 inside the octagon.
I have good coaches, good teammates, good friends, and family. Just have good people around me.
September 29, 2012. UFC on Fuel TV 5, Struve versus Miocic, Nottingham, England.